Chapter 48-26. Yes, this is Heavenly King Hua. Little White Dragon was clearly frightened by Ming Hua's appearance. He hurriedly answered, I've seen him before, and this aura is Heavenly King Hua's. Little White Dragon dared not delay. Although he knew it was Ming Hua's clone, he still flew over and bowed. Greetings, Heavenly King Hua. You are. Ming Hua's clone obviously did not remember Ming Hua. He asked hesitantly. Little White Dragon was about to answer when Xiao Hua stopped him and said, Little White, don't be hasty. He is just Ming Hua's clone. How could he know you? You can tell him after I tell him the whereabouts of Ming Hua's true body. Little White Dragon did not understand why Xiao Hua would do that, but he still smiled at Ming Hua's clone and flew to Xiao Hua's side. Before he could stop, Shui Yu's eyes flashed with surprise. She whispered, Ming Hua is this the famous Heavenly King Hua? Why does he look like a member of the Python clan? Since when did the Python clan have a great saint? Little White Dragon was stunned. He looked at Ming Hua's clone curiously, then at Shui Yu and answered, How could Heavenly King Hua be a member of the Python clan? He is clearly. There is a saying in the human race that one's appearance is born from one's heart. This is one of Heavenly King Hua's divine abilities. He can hide his true appearance. If you look with your own eyes, you may see the appearance you want to see. Xiao Hua explained patiently. The light figure seemed to be embarrassed. As Huang Tong, Feng Wu, and Reverend Yun approached, he had to move closer to Foundation Palace where Xiao Hua was. Xiao Hua looked at the light figure and said with a smile, Heavenly King Hua, although you are just a clone now, you are still a part of Heavenly King Hua. You have karma with me. You don't have to be afraid. I'm here to bring you good news. Xiao Hua, the great saint of the human race. Ming Hua's clone said with a clear voice, I don't know what you are talking about. I am in my true body now. How can I have a clone? Is that so? Xiao Hua said unhurriedly. Since you are in your true body, why is your strength weaker than that of a sun expert? That's because I was previously injured. Although I've recovered after going into seclusion, my cultivation level has dropped a little. When Ming Hua's doppelganger saw that he was being surrounded by several great saints, he was no longer in a hurry. Also, Archfiend Masa, what you heard is just a rumor. There were some demon spirits who wanted to provoke a war between the Huatian realm and the Tsungyuan realm. These demon spirits are this sage's enemies. They want to use you to find out the truth about this sage. This is the reason why this sage tolerated you again and again, and didn't go to your Emosa palace to attend the banquet. Do you think I will believe you? Seeing that Heavenly King Hua did not even have the strength of a sun expert, how could Demon King Emosa be afraid of him? He replied coldly, Unless you want me to turn the entire Huatian realm upside down. That's impossible. Ming Hua's doppelganger continued calmly. Besides, I'll be frank with you. While I'm no match for a great sage of the human race, when it comes to you, then let's give it a try. Demon King Moss's figure flickered as he flew closer. Little Toad, stand aside. Reverend Yin sneered. As expected, Demon King Emosa shrunk his neck and did not dare to move. Heavenly King Hua's strength may not be enough now, but it doesn't mean it won't be in the future. Xiao Hua smiled as he took out Ming Hua's main body and handed it to his doppelganger. This is a token that I obtained by accident. It contains information about the location of Ming Hua's main body. I have no use for it, so I'll return it to you. You just need to go there and find Ming Hua's main body. Then you will be able to recover. Little White Dragon did not understand why Xiao Hua said that. However, when he saw that Ming Hua's doppelganger did not seem to be particularly excited, and that Ming Hua's main body did not move even when he approached Ming Hua's doppelganger, he seemed to understand something. Sure enough, Ming Hua's doppelganger waved his hand and a beam of light fell. It was the black and white conch that had lost its 7 colors. He smiled and said, Thank you, great sage of the human race. Ouch! Xiao Hua suddenly froze. He raised his hand and blocked the black and white conch. He said embarrassedly, I'm sorry, Heavenly King Hua. I made a mistake. This is not that token. This is. As he spoke, Xiao Hua hurriedly took out a tricolored triangular object. It looked similar to the black and white conch. Only after Xiao Hua replaced the triangular object with the black and white conch did he retract his hand. And thank you, great sage of the human race. Although Ming Hua's doppelganger was a little surprised, he still took the triangular object and nodded. When this great sage recovers, TC. Without waiting for Ming Hua's doppelganger to finish speaking, Huang Tong laughed coldly. Ming Hua's main body is in your hands. You don't even know. How can you be Ming Hua's doppelganger? You took that useless object. How can you recover your cultivation? You. The light and shadow shook as a strange fluctuation suddenly rushed out from the light and shadow. The 9 colors of the light and shadow seemed to be washed away by the rain as it rapidly faded away. Demon King Masa was greatly alarmed. He hastily tried to stop him, but Xiao Hua confidently opened his mouth. A breath of clear air fell, and like a brush, light and shadow once again appeared from the indescribable void. Moreover, this time was different from the previous time. After the light appeared, it immediately disappeared and a fox several hundred feet long appeared in front of everyone. Wasn't this the great demon that Xiao Hua entered from the edge of the legacy world after taking the 10,000 spirit sacred blood? Unfortunately, Xiao Hua had never seen this fox before. He didn't know what happened in the legacy world after he left. Although Little White Dragon was prepared, after seeing the fox, he couldn't help but cry out. Ah? You. What kind of demon are you? You dare to impersonate Heavenly King Hua. Do you not want to live anymore? Whether this old man lives or dies is my business. Seeing that he was exposed, the fox wasn't nervous at all. He calmly glanced at Little White Dragon and then at Xiao Hua and said, Human race great sage, this old man has just heard of your name. I've also heard of the names of Phoenix Sage and Dragon Sage beside you. You aren't great sages of the 10,000 demon realm, so you don't know the secrets and dangers here. Let this old man give you a piece of advice. Especially great ascension stage humans, this matter isn't something you can participate in. Today's matter. You only need to kill all the demon spirits who know about it, and this old man. And the power behind this old man will pretend that nothing happened. Are you threatening this Xiao? Xiao Hua didn't put away the dark mantra's body. Instead, he rolled it between his fingers and looked at the fox with interest. The fox's figure shook slightly and turned into the appearance of an old man. He smiled and said, It's not a threat. After all, this old man doesn't have the power to threaten a great sage. However, since great sages are great sages of the human race, you must know what realm comes after great sages. At this point, the fox abruptly stopped speaking and didn't say another word. Xiao Hua stared at the old man as if he wanted to see if the fox was telling the truth, but he suddenly said, You're talking about Snow Wolf King, aren't you? The fox was naturally a fox, so how could it blurt out the name like a human? However, when he heard the 3 words Snow Wolf King, the expression in his eyes slightly changed. It was only this slight change that caused Xiao Hua to smile. Big brother. Before Xiao Hua could say anything, Shuiyu spoke up. Can I see this strange conch? Of course. Facing the cunning fox, Xiao Hua's attention was focused on the fox's expression. When he heard Huyu's voice, he naturally agreed and handed the black and white conch to Huyu. You. The fox's heart trembled when Xiao Hua saw through its expression, and it asked tentatively, Could it be that you're also .? However, Xiao Hua didn't answer the fox. Instead, he reached out with his hand, and with a flash of golden light, a large hand blocked the other side. At this moment, Shuiyu's python body strangely extended a claw. Although the claw was faster than lightning and wanted to grab the black and white conch, and Shuiyu's python body showed signs of collapsing as the claw approached the conch, Shuiyu's claw was immediately blocked by Xiao Hua's large golden hand. And even Shuiyu's mutated python body froze there. Xiao Hua looked at Shuiyu and asked with a smile. You want it? Heavenly King Hua, if you want it, just say it. If you don't say it, how would I know you want it? Although you're looking at me with sincerity, you still have to tell me what you want. Do you really want it? Then you can have it. You don't really want it, do you? Do you really want it? Actually, it's yours. You told me seriously, so how could I not give it to you? However, you asked me in a roundabout way, and you made me confused. How could I give it to you? What? She's Heavenly King Hua? Little White Dragon's dragon scales stood up like hair. He didn't dare to believe Xiaohua's words, and he didn't dare to believe his own eyes. In fact, he didn't dare to believe that he and Heavenly King Hua had been doing whatever they wanted in the deep pool. Impossible, impossible. Little White Dragon hurriedly shook his muddy brain and asserted, if she's Heavenly King Hua, how could she have almost been killed by the Eagle tribe? How could she? Nothing is impossible. Xiaohua looked at Little White Dragon's panic, and a trace of strangeness appeared in his heart. He looked at Shuiyu and said, the secret of Heavenly King Hua's true body. We don't know. It's also possible that he's a hermaphrodite. Furthermore, the Shuiyu in front of you is Heavenly King Hua's clone. Whether she's a male or a female, it doesn't matter. Chapter 48:27. Damn it. Little White Dragon used its dragon claws to grab its own dragon head and curled up in regret, as if it had done something extremely bad. Huyu didn't say anything, only looking at Xiaohua indifferently. Only now did she speak. Xiaohua, how did you know? I didn't seem to have revealed any flaws, did I? Heavenly King Hua, you seem to be too confident? Xiaohua rubbed his nose and smiled. Just based on the fact that Little White Dragon fainted out here, Xiaohua stopped and looked at Demon King Emosa. Demon King Emosa, do you see? Heavenly King Hua's main body left the 10,000 demon realm many years ago, his clone. I'll tell you, it just woke up. Do you think the matter between the Empress and Heavenly King Hua is real or fake? This. Demon King Emosa was in a dilemma. Not to mention whether the matter between Heavenly King Hua and Xianwan was real. Just the fact that Heavenly King Hua had become a female python meant he couldn't pursue this matter. Huyu coldly looked at Demon King Emosa and said, Demon King Emosa, right now I'm not Heavenly King Hua. I don't know what Heavenly King Hua did. These things can only be known after I obtain Heavenly King Hua's main body. However, you offended my Huatian realm and slandered this king. You can wait at the place where the armies of Songyuan realm and Huatian realm are fighting. Once I obtain the main body, I'll immediately kill you. Good. Demon King Emosa's eyes also showed ruthlessness. I'm not afraid of a cowardly great saint like you. With that, Demon King Emosa flew away on his demon cloud. Old fox. Xiaohua exposed Huyu's true face and looked up at the fox. What did you just say? How could the old fox admit it? He shook his head. I didn't say anything. Looks like you won't give up until you hit the wall. Xiaohua said coldly. This old man can tell you Snow Wolf King has been killed by this old man. See, how is that possible? The fox sucked in a breath of cold air and cried out in alarm. However, before his voice could land, his expression changed drastically again. A nine-colored brilliance immediately surged out from his body, and the phantom of a nine-tailed fox appeared once again within the brilliance. Xiaohua waved his hand, and the power of thunder sealed the space around them. Even if the nine-tailed fox charged a secret technique of Qingqiu Mountain, it could not move half an inch. You. Nine-tailed fox was even more surprised to see that a human great sage could see through her secret art. I don't have time to waste on you right now. Xiaohua grabbed the nine-tailed fox with his big hand and said, think about it carefully. When this old man asks you, then tell this old man the truth. While speaking, Xiaohua pretended to take out a universe bracelet. With a sweep of his mind, the nine-tailed fox was taken into his space. All right. Xiaohua looked around and smiled. Heavenly King Hua, now that there's no one around, we can have a good talk. Big brother, don't rush. Little White Dragon said with a sad face. Can you let me ask first? Of course. Xiaohua knew Little White Dragon's complicated feelings and replied with a smile. Who you? Little White Dragon asked. You. When did you become Heavenly King Hua's clone? Huyu glanced at Little White Dragon as if she was annoyed. She did not want to answer, but seeing Xiaohua's gaze, she still said half-heartedly, it was after you met Heavenly King Hua. He wanted to take you on a trip and happened to meet me. It was also a spur-of-the-moment decision. When I met Heavenly King Hua's python body, it was also you. Little White Dragon seemed to understand something and asked. Of course. Huyu frowned. That's all in the past. Why ask so much? Also, I can tell you that this clone of mine is different from ordinary cloning techniques. Heavenly King Hua only split half of his primordial spirit and sealed it in this python body. If Heavenly King Hua's true body was not here, this primordial spirit would naturally take over Huyu's python body, and Huyu would become the real Heavenly King Hua. If Heavenly King Hua's true body was here, Huyu's python body would naturally not be needed. Right now, Huyu's consciousness is temporarily suppressed by my consciousness. When my primordial spirit returns to Heavenly King Hua's true body, I will naturally return your Huyu to you. Of course, if too much time passes, whether your Huyu can return or not is not up to me to decide. How could Little White Dragon not hear the threat from Heavenly King Hua's clone? Since he knew that it was not Heavenly King Hua, but the real Huyu, he was at ease. He glanced at Heavenly King Hua and was about to reply coldly. However, the moment he opened his mouth, his heart skipped a beat. He smiled and said, "Don't worry. Huyu is my beloved concubine, and you are Heavenly King Hua. I am also indebted to you. How can I not plead for you?" As he spoke, Xiao Hua winked at Xiao Hua and said, "Don't you think so, big brother?" "Of course." Xiao Hua nodded. Heavenly King Hua is indebted to Little White Dragon. Heavenly King Hua's legacy on Dawn Rain Continent is also indebted to me. How can I not revive Heavenly King Hua? Then why did you stop me? Heavenly King Hua asked coldly. His tone was completely different from Huyu's. It's very simple. Xiao Hua shrugged and said, Heavenly King Hua was originally kind to Little White Dragon, but he set up a restriction in Little White Dragon's mind, wanting to kill Little White Dragon. If it wasn't for Little White Dragon's good luck, it would have already become a corpse by now. I also fell into the spatial trap set up by Heavenly King Hua. If I was not lucky, I would not have the chance to stand in front of you. Thus, Heavenly King Hua's kindness to me no longer exists. Since the kindness no longer exists, why should I give you his main body? Xiao Hua said with a smile. Heavenly King Hua's clone was not to be trifled with. He looked at his main body and said calmly, Xiao Hua, what conditions do you have? As long as I can agree, I will agree. I don't need any conditions. Xiao Hua replied. I just want to know some things. I also want you to make some promises. Heavenly King Hua's clone shook his head and said, I am only half of Ming Hua's primordial spirit. There are many things about him that I do not know. I cannot promise you now. There is no need to talk about the past now. Xiao Hua already knew that Heavenly King Hua would say this. He continued. You just need to promise me the future. This is not a problem, right? When you get the main body, Heavenly King Hua will know, right? All right. Heavenly King Hua did not even think and replied, Tell me. I want you to make a demon oath. You, your main body, and even your other clones have to promise me a few things. Xiao Hua said word by word. First, you have to protect the Little White Dragon and the Gale Abyss to the best of your ability. All right. Heavenly King Hua's clone nodded. Since Heavenly King Hua used Shuiyu as his clone, he will naturally agree to protect the Gale Abyss. Second, you have to protect the demons, humans, and dragons that came from the 3 continents to the 10,000 demon realm. You cannot reveal their whereabouts. This. Heavenly King Hua's clone shook his head. I am just a great sage from the spirit tribe. I cannot fight against the other great sages. If they want to kill me, I cannot stop them. Heavenly King Hua's clone shook his head. Actually, there are also descendants of the Rainbow Sea God Shell among them. They are also descendants of your Shell clan. Of course, you don't understand now. You will understand when you get your main body. Xiao Hua explained. Even if you cannot stop them, you have to protect them with all your might. All right. Heavenly King Hua's clone nodded helplessly. Third. Xiao Hua smiled and said, You have to promise that everything you tell me after you get your main body and regain your memories and strength is the truth. You are not asking for 3 things. Heavenly King Hua's clone said angrily. It doesn't matter. Xiao Hua shrugged and smiled slyly. I just want to ask you some questions. I am not going to eat your flesh or drink your blood. Besides, I brought your main body to the 10,000 demon realm. I am your main body's benefactor. Once you recover, you will understand why. All right. Heavenly King Hua's clone nodded. I promise. After that, Heavenly King Hua's clone made a demon oath. Countless strange threads fell like a spider web and entered Shui Yu's body. Are you relieved now? Heavenly King Hua said angrily. This seems to be the first time Heavenly King Hua has been forced to make a demon oath. If you want to gain something, you will naturally lose something. Xiao Hua replied calmly and handed the black and white conch to Shui Yu. This time, Shui Yu did not rush to take it. Instead, she looked at the black and white conch and frowned. If my memory is correct, Heavenly King Hua's main body shouldn't be like this. But why do I know that this is Heavenly King Hua's main body? You will have to ask the Rainbow Sea God Shell about this. Xiao Hua did not answer Heavenly King Hua's clone directly. Fine. Heavenly King Hua's clone could not resist the temptation of his main body. He raised his hand and took it. Just like before, when Heavenly King Hua's tentacles came into contact with the black and white conch, Shui Yu's python body collapsed again. At the same time, there was a loud boom in the sky. Waves of watery light seeped out of the void and rushed into the conch in Shui Yu's python body. When the watery light entered the conch, the sound of crashing waves rose into the sky. A black and white light screen that was more than 10,000 feet wide appeared amidst the sound, covering the entire area. A familiar aura of a barrier that Xiao Hua was familiar with seeped out from within. However, this aura quickly retracted. The black and white light screen also shrunk and finally condensed together. As the curtain of light shrunk, the conch shell began to spin mysteriously. More and more water turned into water lines that fell onto the surface of the conch shell. The conch shell's shadow began to expand and gradually covered the conch shell's main body. Give it a recommendation vote, bookmark it or tip it. Thank you for all your support. Chapter 48-28. Roar. At this point, Hu Yu's body had already sunk to a certain extent. She stopped and let out a painful hiss. Starting from her tail, a streak of blood slowly flowed out and rushed towards her head. After the time it took to finish a meal, the blood finally gathered at Hu Yu's head. Her originally snow-white head was now blood-red. Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes as he watched. He knew that Heavenly King Hua's clone was using the external incarnation technique to draw out Hu Yu's essence blood. The clone's primordial spirit could also use this essence blood to successfully return to the original body that had undergone the divine punishment. Whoosh. As expected, a conch-shaped blood shadow gathered at the center of Hu Yu's brows. Then, like lightning, it rushed into the light shadow that had already condensed to a size of 1,000 feet. Although it was only for an instant, the blood shadow still trembled in mid-air. It even looked towards where Huang Tong was standing. Huang Tong's aura made the blood shadow's primordial spirit, which had left its physical body, very afraid. Woo. Heavenly King Hua's primordial spirit left Hu Yu's body. Hu Yu's body fell from mid-air again. Little White Dragon, who had been waiting by the side, immediately rushed out and caught Hu Yu's body. Bang bang bang. The blood-colored Yuan spirit landed in the conch illusory figure. Instantly, a couple of water-blue thunderbolts intertwined and fell from the sky. Aha! An obscure low roar came from the shadow. And then a powerful aura began to rush out from the shadow, spreading in all directions towards the Huatian realm. That after the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the illusory figure solidified. However, the dark mantra didn't transform. Instead, Conch's body appeared first. However, after the black and white light dissipated, a handsome young man from the human clan stood in mid-air. Great Sage Ming Hua. Little White Dragon seemed to have just woken up. He hurriedly hugged the unconscious Hu Yu and bowed to the young man. You. Are you really awake? Sai Hu Han, you've finally cultivated into a dragon. Ming Hua sighed. He looked at Little White Dragon's body and sighed. The heavens reward those who persevere. Your hard work has indeed moved the heavens. Junior would also like to thank the great sage for his guidance. The Little White Dragon was somewhat similar to Xiao Hua's gratitude, and hurriedly replied respectfully. Ming Hua glanced at Little White Dragon and said to Xiao Hua, there are a few secret restrictions in Lin Han's soul that have not been removed yet. I need to help him remove them. Sure. Xiao Hua nodded. Then Ming Hua raised his hand and a few rays of black and white light appeared. The light formed a butterfly-like knot in the air, and slowly landed on the little white dragon's head. Roar! The little white dragon roared in pain, and its body fell to the ground. Xiao Hua had already released his divine sense and knew that Ming Hua had done the right thing, so he nodded at Feng Wu. Feng Wu waved her phoenix claws and caught little white dragon and Shuiyu. Heavenly King Hua. Xiao Hua looked at Ming Hua and said, "Although I said earlier that we're even now, this Xiao Hua didn't say anything. However, what you've done is actually all part of your defense, and it's not targeted at this Xiao. Moreover, the orthodoxy you left behind in the Donrain continent is indeed where this Xiao Hua once lived. This Xiao Hua still has to thank Heavenly King Hua. This Xiao Hua now greets the ancestor as a disciple of Shang Hua Ming." As he spoke, Xiao Hua respectfully bowed towards Ming Hua. Ming Hua knew that this was Xiao Hua settling the karma with him, so he didn't stop him and accepted it. Then he raised his hand and said, "Great Sage Xiao, Shang Hua Ming was just something I did casually in the Donrain continent. To put it bluntly, it was also where I imprisoned Little White Dragon. You don't have to care too much about it. From now on, Shang Hua Ming has nothing to do with me. You don't have to mention Shang Hua Ming anymore." "Well said." Xiao Hua smiled and said, "It's best that Heavenly King Hua thinks this way. This Xiao Hua also doesn't want the famous Shang Hua Ming to have a demon spirit ancestor." Although Xiao Hua was smiling, how could Ming Hua not understand the meaning behind Xiao Hua's words? He lightly nodded and didn't mention this matter again. Instead he asked, "Of course, your thoughts are also my thoughts. There's no need to say it out loud. Also, you've said it clearly before. You saved me from a hopeless situation, so we've written off our previous kindness. You and I don't owe each other anything. Shang Hua Ming, even if you were the ancestor, with your current cultivation, it's more than enough. Didn't the human race say that history is always the victory song of the victors? Do as you see fit." Speaking of Shang Hua Ming, Xiao Hua naturally thought of some of the previous secrets. He thought for a moment and asked, "What about Shang Hua Ming's seniors other than Heavenly King Hua? There doesn't seem to be any records in the ancestral hall." Heavenly King Hua frowned slightly and then said, "They naturally entered the cycle of reincarnation. You forced my avatar to swear a demon oath? You want to ask this?" Seeing Heavenly King Hua like this, Xiao Hua somewhat understood. Heavenly King Hua probably didn't want his whereabouts to be left behind in Yellow Flower Ridge, so he deliberately did some tricks. "Of course not. These are just some of the doubts in my heart. Today, I want to ask about the spatial passage from the 10,000 demon realm to the Donrain continent," Xiao Hua said seriously. "I hope Heavenly King Hua can answer truthfully." "Oh, you want to know this?" Heavenly King Hua frowned and asked curiously, "You caused such a big commotion just to know about the spatial passage from the 10,000 demon realm to the Donrain continent?" "Yes," Xiao Hua answered. "This is very important to me, to the Rainbow Sea God Shell. Bei Xian, or is she also in the Donrain continent? Why can't I find her?" Heavenly King Hua was even more confused and asked back. "Bei Xian, or is not in the Donrain continent." Xiao Hua shook his head. "She's in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm." In order to make Bei Ming tell him everything, and even want Bei Ming to love Bei Xian, or because of her, Xiao Hua patiently told him everything about the 4 great continents. In the end he said, "I just want to head to the Donrain continent and destroy this immortal formation, so that I can save the billions of lives in the 3 continents, including Bei Xian." Heavenly King Hua didn't seem to care about Bei Xian's life and death. He thought for a moment and shook his head. "Great Sage Xiao, I'm sure you know that the memory I sealed in Zhang Han's soul is actually fake. That spatial passage is just a trap. The spatial passage to the Donrain continent doesn't exist at all." Seeing Heavenly King Hua's coldness, Xiao Hua's heart suddenly went cold. He seemed to have realized that he might be wrong. Bei Ming went to the Donrain continent to find Bei Xian. Or it might not be because he wanted to find a descendant of the Shell race. It might not be because of kinship, or even this Bei Ming might be even more cold-blooded than Bei Xian. It was possible that he went to kill Bei Xian. After all, in order to hide his true body, he took so many precautions in the Thousand Demon Realm. Now that he heard that the 3 continents were going to be destroyed in Bei Xian, or couldn't have survived. Wasn't this exactly what he wanted? However, this was only Xiaohua's guess. Xiaohua didn't dare to take it seriously. He stopped guessing and asked in shock, "How is that possible? Didn't you go to the Dawn-Rain continent through the spatial passage back then?" "It was purely a coincidence that I went to the Dawn-Rain continent." Heavenly King Hua had already made a demon oath. When he heard Xiaohua asking something that he didn't think was important, he answered without worry. "That day when I was cultivating the dragon transformation art encountered some problems, so I took Lin Han out to train. Because I wanted to refine my body, I chose the Origin Paradise. There were many chaotic spatial laws there. There were also extraterritorial hurricanes and even meteorites left behind by the outer realm. It was a good place to cultivate the dragon transformation art. However, when I was cultivating, I encountered a realm storm. Several spatial rifts suddenly appeared around me. These spatial rifts were very powerful, and I couldn't escape with my ability. Therefore, I chose a spatial rift with weaker spatial laws to enter." Speaking of this, Heavenly King Hua shrugged his shoulders and said with a helpless expression, "When I passed through the realm barrier, I fainted. When I woke up, I was already at Yellow Flower Ridge. You also crossed realms and should know the impact of the laws of heaven and earth on the physical body. I rested for more than 10 years before I recovered. Then, I discovered that my cultivation was suppressed in the Dawn-Rain continent. Moreover, the strange laws prevented me from using my divine arts. In order to explore the laws of heaven and earth of the Dawn-Rain continent, I created Shanghua Ming. However, after taking in a few disciples, I discovered that the physical body of the human race was completely different from that of the demon race. I was afraid that it would be difficult to compare and refer to, so I had to think of another way later. I heard that there was an immortal island overseas, and there might be some celestial race there. They should be similar to my demon race, so I went to the Kuai-He Sea. In the end, I was unlucky and encountered a powerful tsunami. I couldn't escape the suction of the seabed." After Heavenly King Hua finished speaking, Xiaohua was filled with emotions. He had indeed thought of this Shanghua Ming ancestor, who he had never seen before, as too perfect. Everything was just a coincidence. It wasn't driven by familial love or deep blood ties. "Forget it," Xiaohua sighed and asked again. "Then do you know of other passageways to the Dawn-Rain continent?" Heavenly King Hua thought for a moment and shook his head. "Sorry, Xiaohua, I really don't know. My origin I'm sure you already know. I'm not familiar with the other great sages in the 10,000 demon realm, so I can't help you much. Of course, since I went to the Dawn-Rain continent from the Origin Grotto Heaven, you can give it a try. The problem is that spacecrack is too occasional, and it may lead to other realms. I'm already in the 10,000 demon realm, so I don't want to cause any more trouble." Xiaohua smiled bitterly. "Xiaohua, do you have any other questions?" Heavenly King Hua asked. Xiaohua shook his head. "Not at the moment. If there are any in the future, please answer truthfully like Heavenly King Hua." "That's not a problem." Heavenly King Hua was also straightforward. After agreeing, he asked, "Then I also have a few questions to ask you." Chapter 48-29. Xiaohua looked at Heavenly King Huatian and smiled. "Actually, I know what you want to ask. First, I brought the sea god statue from Shanghuaming to the Thousand Demon Sacred Realm. However, when I fought with Bei Xian, it turned to dust." Heavenly King Huatian's expression turned strange when he heard that. He seemed to be glad, but Xiaohua could not tell what it was. "As for your sea god's bloodline," Xiaohua didn't elaborate further, and only mentioned it briefly. "It's best if you ask Bei Xian. Of course, if I can't return to the Dawn-Rain continent and break that immortal formation, I'll be able to help you. I'm afraid you won't be able to see her again." "No." Heavenly King Huatian smiled and said, "You're thinking too much. I just want to ask you, how did you get through that? That was a time array. Even a great saint of the demon race could not get through it. You're just a human great saint. How did you do it?" However, Heavenly King Huatian glanced at Huang Tong and the other great saints of the demon race. "All right, since you've guessed it, I don't have to hide it." Xiaohua smiled. "Actually, the one who really saved you was Phoenix, saint of the Phoenix race. He used the space laws to resist the time laws. After paying the price of a lot of lifespan, we were lucky to escape. That Xiaohua already knew that Bei Ming would ask about this. He had already thought of a plan. With just a few words, he used the space laws to resist the time laws. It was mysterious and did not need to be explained in detail. Besides, Huang Tong was Xiaohua's clone. He was no different from Xiaohua. He did not lie to Heavenly King Huatian. Heavenly King Huatian frowned in thought. It looked like he believed it. Indeed, after a while, Heavenly King Huatian cupped his hands at Huang Tong. Phoenix Saint's understanding of the space laws is admirable. That day, I also used the space powers. However, I could only seal myself. I could not break through the time barrier. I was lucky. Huang Tong smiled insincerely. He was not interested in Heavenly King Huatian. Also, Heavenly King Huatian hesitated and asked, "Can you leave that old fox to me? He dared to impersonate me. I have to skin him and make a robe." "Sorry." Xiaohua shook his head. "This guy is more important to me." "How is he more important to you?" Heavenly King Hua was confused. "If I'm not mistaken, this old fox should be a demon spirit from a lost clan in the 10,000 demon realm. He's not an ordinary fox. How do you know him?" Xiaohua smiled and said, "Forgive me for not being able to tell Heavenly King Hua about this. Of course, if I don't need it in the future, I'll skin him and give him to Heavenly King Hua." Heavenly King Hua nodded in understanding. As long as this bastard doesn't have a good ending. Since he dared to transform into this king's appearance, how can I not teach him a lesson? At this point, Xiaohua had nothing else to ask. Other than disappointment, there was only bitterness in his heart. From the 3 continents to the 10,000 demon realm, and from there to the Dawn Rain continent, it sounded very simple. However, it was difficult to actually do it. Previously, going from the 3 continents to the 10,000 demon realm should have been the most difficult. However, because of Huang Tong's appearance and the existence of that immature world, Xiaohua finally arrived at the 10,000 demon realm. What he saw and did in the 10,000 demon realm had long exceeded Xiaohua's expectations. However, at this point in time, what seemed to be the easiest thing had become the most difficult thing. There was a spatial passage, but this spatial passage was accidental. When it would appear, and which world it would lead to, no one could guarantee. Before he could confirm that it was the Dawn Rain continent, Xiaohua would definitely not enter easily. Xiaohua no longer had the time to go to other worlds. "Xiaohua, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave." Heavenly King Hua looked into the distance and said coldly, "Demon King Mo Sa actually sent troops to attack my Huatian realm. If I don't teach him a lesson, he won't know that Lord Ma has 3 eyes." It had been a long time since he heard a proverb from the human race. Hearing it from Heavenly King Hua now, it was rather familiar. However, after laughing a few times, his heart suddenly moved. "Heavenly King Hua, I'm a little curious. Who exactly is this Demon King Mo Sa's beloved concubine? Could it be that she's also a female toad? If that's the case, you really have to teach Demon King Mo Sa a lesson. He pushed a toad to you for no reason." "How would I know?" Heavenly King Hua glanced at Xiaohua indifferently. He did not answer directly but instead sneered. If it wasn't a demon spirit who saw through the old fox's trick, then it must be some great saint who wants to cause trouble for my Huatian realm. I'll slowly investigate this matter. Then Heavenly King Hua cupped his fist and said, "Farewell. I hope you can find the spatial passage to Dawn Rain continent smoothly." "Thank you, Heavenly King Hua." Xiaohua cupped his fist and returned the gesture. Woo-woo. Heavenly King Hua's figure moved, transforming into a gray streak of light that shot towards the place where Xiaohua had come from. Not long after, rumbling sounds could be heard from afar as pillars of starlight and moonlight appeared in the distance. Heavenly King Hua had already made his move. This guy is a little like Jiang Haochen. Huang Tong squinted at the chaotic heaven and earth energy in the distance and said softly, "Ruthless and merciless in his actions. He doesn't hesitate when dealing with emotions." Reverend Yun said, "I have a feeling that Heavenly King Hua still has some secrets that he hasn't told us. These secrets might be useful to us. The problem is, We don't know what these secrets are, so we can't make him tell us. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly. I can at least say, Heavenly King Hua, can you tell us all your secrets? Haha, of course. Feng Wu smiled. Get the information we want within Heavenly King Hua's tolerance range. Don't touch his bottom line. After all, he has already made a demon oath to take care of the descendants from the 3 continents. In Gale Abyss, Xiao Hua looked down at the unconscious little white dragon and said, Bei Ming's divine power is even more unfathomable than Bei Xian'er's. Little white dragon's original body has already been killed, and he's only surviving on his soul essence. Bei Ming's seal is still effective in his soul essence. Even if he condenses his body with the dragon cleansing liquid, the seal is still his shackles. Just this point alone, the Red Sea Domain's royal family is definitely not simple. Little white dragon's luck has finally come to an end. Huang Tong smiled. In the future, he'll become a famous existence in the 10,000 demon realm. Fellow Taoist, things have come to a dead end again. Reverend Yin asked, Are we going to the Origin Cave next? The Origin Cave is recorded in the World Sense. Xiao Hua took out the World Sense and looked at it, then handed it to Huang Tong and said, It's easy for us to go to the Origin Cave. But the difficult part is how to find the Dawn Rain mainland. Fellow Taoist, don't you have a sense of direction? Isn't that easy? Feng Wu smiled. Reverend Yin also said, Yes, others don't know the aura of the Dawn Rain mainland, but you don't? The problem is, Xiao Hua explained, if there's a spatial crack that leads to the Dawn Rain mainland in the same spatial crack that appears at the same time, we can naturally enter it. But what if there's no spatial crack? We won't have any chance to regret, and can only choose an unknown realm to enter. We can't afford to gamble. Fellow Taoist, you seem to have a card up your sleeve. Huang Tong returned the world sense to Xiao Hua and asked with a smile. Xiao Hua nodded. That's right. We can't find any useful information on Heavenly King Hua, but there's another person. We can go and ask. Who? Feng Wu asked curiously. Reverend Yin smiled. Who else? Of course, it's the Radiant Phoenix King. Phoenix Sage, now it's up to you to seduce this Radiant Phoenix King with your handsome face. Gosh. Feng Wu said with a distressed face. Fellow Taoist, you've overestimated me. This matter belongs to none other than Phoenix Sage. Don't look for me, Huang Tong said impatiently. I've been to the vast ocean, and there's no other cloud except for Mount Wu. Xiao Hua's face was full of black lines and he said, Fellow Taoists, aren't you overthinking? I visited Divine Mother Peacock earlier. Oh, that's right, that's her. Hearing this, Huang Tong hurriedly shouted, Isn't the Kai family of the Dawn Rain mainland the descendants of Divine Mother Peacock? According to fellow Taoist, Fairy Hongxia even obtained a peacock plume. Divine Mother Peacock must have been to the Dawn Rain mainland, and she must know where the spatial passage is. Not only that, Xiao Hua said thoughtfully, that day when we attacked the Great Ape King, Divine Mother Peacock once said that she saw that there was some karma between us. If there's time, she would invite us to the Peacock Palace for a chat. Could it be that her words are here? Divine Mother Peacock actually has a Buddhist cultivation base. This matter is really a great secret of the 10,000 demon realm. Feng Wu said cautiously. Whether or not we can get the information of the spatial passage from her mouth, we should go to the Peacock Palace and prepare for the birth of Maitreya Buddha. However, before going to the Peacock Palace, we need to ask who the immortal body living in the Snow Wolf King's primordial spirit is. Xiao Hua said while pinching his chin. That cunning old fox must know something. Not only that, Huang Tong said, this old fox actually knows the illusion technique of Qingqiu Mountain. If fellow Taoist was not proficient in this technique, how could you capture him so easily? This old fox might have some relationship with Jiu Xia. That's right, that's right. Xiao Hua nodded. It's because I'm not sure what relationship he has with Jiu Xia that I don't know how to deal with him. Let's ask about the immortal body first, Taoist Yin suggested. Let's wait until we reach the Dawn Rain mainland to save us the trouble of guessing. Then, Xiao Hua brought Little White Dragon and Shuiyu back to the Gale Abyss, and waited for them to wake up before saying goodbye. Give it as a reward, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 48:30. Although it was a farewell, it was just Xiao Hua tearing open the void above Gale Abyss, and using the space escape technique to reach the sky. Then Feng Wu, Huang Tong, and Reverend Yin each guarded a corner. Xiao Hua pulled the fox out of the space. When he released the seal, the fox's eyes turned quickly, looking left and right, then became obedient again. You're a demon spirit of the Fox clan, right? Xiao Hua looked at the fox's flashing eyes and asked in a deep voice. Yes, this lowly one is Hu Mao of the Fox clan. The old fox hurriedly answered with a very respectful expression. When he heard the old fox call himself Hu Mao, Xiao Hua sneered in his heart, but he did not expose him. He asked, I'll be honest with you. Not only did I kill the Great Ape King and the Rainbow Lion King, I also killed the Snow Wolf King. Impossible. Hu Mao cried out in surprise. How could you kill the Snow Wolf King? Why didn't I hear any news? Because the place where I killed her was not in the spirit realm, so there was no news until now. Xiao Hua said faintly. However, I feel that in your surprise, you still don't believe it. Because you think that with the protection of the human form, the Snow Wolf King would never be killed by other demons in the 10,000 demon realm? The words immortal physique in human form struck the cunning old fox. Hu Xiao was stunned and his face was filled with fear. He couldn't say a single word. I'll tell you the same thing, that human form was also killed by me. Xiao Hua's words did not stop until he was shocked to death. He continued. I spared your life because I want to ask you, who is that human form? What is his purpose in coming to the 10,000 demon realm? If Hu Qi had some doubts about Xiao Hua before, then he was truly shocked at this moment. If Xiao Hua had seen the humanoid immortal physique, then only one of them could survive. This was the most clear to him. Now that Xiao Hua was alive and standing in front of him, then the human form must have been killed by Xiao Hua. Just as Hu Qi was about to speak, he hesitated again. This was because he couldn't rule out the possibility that Xiao Hua had already joined the human immortal body. He also couldn't rule out the possibility that the human immortal body was testing him. However, in the blink of an eye, Hu Qi couldn't help but laugh. Not to mention whether or not he was worthy of the human immortal body's test. If Xiao Hua had relied on the human immortal body, how could he have been exposed? How could Hua Tian King still be alive? Hu Bo was naturally someone who could judge the situation. He smiled apologetically and said, I'll be honest with you, great sage. I'm just a small fry and can't compare to the great sage Snow Wolf King. If it weren't for the fact that I'm not famous and know some transformation techniques, that great sage wouldn't have taken a liking to me. Therefore, the one who gave orders to me was the Snow Wolf King. I've only met that lord once. Therefore, I have no idea who that person is, and why he came to the 10,000 demon realm. The order I received was to transform into Heavenly King Hua's appearance in Hua Tian Realm's Foundation Hall. Why did you transform into Heavenly King Hua's appearance? Xiao Hua asked. As for the specifics, I don't know yet. Hu Bo hurriedly replied. Snow Wolf King didn't have time to give me an order before Demon King Mo Sa came to cause trouble. I could only deal with it in a hurry. You really don't know who that human immortal body is? Xiao Hua stretched out a finger and said indifferently, I'm from the Dao sect. I believe you also know that the soul-searching technique is the most common technique in the Dao sect. However, the Dao sect's soul-searching technique has a flaw. If you're not careful, you can turn someone into an idiot. I don't know if this will happen to the demon race if I'm not careful. Great sage, please spare me. Hu Bo became anxious and shouted, My primordial spirit has that great sage's seal. If you search my soul, not only will I be harmed, great sage will also be in danger. You don't have to threaten me. Xiao Hua laughed. I can kill him, so I naturally have a way to break his seal. Hu Bo's face turned pale. Seeing Xiao Hua's finger covering all light and shadow, he couldn't even feel the heaven and earth. He hurriedly shouted, Great sage, don't worry. What? What did you think of? Xiao Hua asked unhurriedly, but his finger stopped. Great sage. Hu Bo's face was filled with extreme hesitation. It's not that I don't want to say, I really don't know much. I remember that I was worried that great sage Peng Xian would see through my plan, and wanted to withdraw from this matter. Snow Wolf King led me to a mysterious place, and I met that great sage. I won't hide it from great sage. When facing this great sage, I didn't even dare to raise my head. How could I know his intentions? Of course, when we came out of the mysterious space, Snow Wolf King hinted that this great sage had a great background. He was an envoy from a certain immortal race in the immortal world. Which immortal race? Xiao Hua asked with interest. He didn't think that Hu Bo would be able to give him a satisfactory answer. The result shocked Xiao Hua. Hu Bo carefully said, Snow Wolf King said that this great sage's surname seems to be Shen. When the word Shen came out, Hu Bo's eyes spun rapidly, as if waiting for the restriction to activate. Fortunately, the space was calm and Hu Bo's body was calm. There was no change. Shen clan? Xiao Hua was confused. Do you think Snow Wolf King would tell you the truth? How could he tell you such important information? That's not something that I can know. Hu Qi smiled apologetically. However, I'm afraid that the Snow Wolf King was also forced to do so, right? Or perhaps Snow Wolf King had a deal with the Shen clan's envoy. In any case, Snow Wolf King probably wanted to reveal it. What else do you know? Xiao Hua asked, seeing that Hu Bo was so cooperative. Hu Bo thought for a moment, then said flatteringly, Great Sage is a great sage of the human race. There are many things that you can see clearly. There's no need for me to say more. And what great sage can't see, I don't have the ability to know either. Don't flatter me, Xiao Hua said indifferently. What else do you know? Hu Bai's eyes turned again and he replied. Regarding the matter of Demon King Moss's beloved concubine, I heard the Snow Wolf King mention it. It seems like the Great Ape King, the Great Eagle King, or the Holy Mother of Peacocks started it. They seem to have seen through the Shen clan's plan. Hu Bo carefully looked at Xiao Hua, worried that Xiao Hua would be dissatisfied. Fortunately, Xiao Hua's expression didn't change. He only frowned and pondered. A moment later, Xiao Hua looked at Hu Bo and said, At this point, you're already useless to me. I'll either kill you to silence you or let you go. Great Sage, spare me. Hu Bo hurriedly shouted. Just let me go like I'm a fart. I'm just an ordinary Fox clan member. Don't worry, I won't kill you. However, I can't let you go right now. Xiao Hua smiled faintly. He raised his hand, and lightning appeared between his fingers, trapping Hu Qi again. He said, Your fate will be decided by another person. Hu Bo hurriedly asked. Xiao Hua raised his head and looked at the rising sun in the sky. There was an indescribable meaning in his mouth as he said, A beautiful person. Then, without waiting for Hu Bo to say anything, his mind swept Hu Bo into the space. Let's go. Xiao Hua flicked his sleeve and said, I don't know if Hu Bo is good or evil. Let Jiu Xia decide. Is Jiu Xia kind? Feng Wu asked with a smile. In any case, I believe in Jiu Xia. Xiao Hua unhappily rolled his eyes at Feng Wu. He rubbed his hands and several crystal lights fell down, tearing the void apart. Then he flashed and entered. When Xiao Hua stepped out of the space again, he was already very high up in the sky. The sky of the 10,000 demon realm was different from the 3 continents. Here there was still no earth, fire, wind, or thunder, only endless astral winds. An indescribable oppressive feeling came from the sky, pressing down on them. Xiao Hua stood high up in the sky and did not release his divine sense. What the naked eye could see was an extremely large number of clouds. These clouds were different from ordinary clouds. Not only were they not the common cotton-like appearance, but they had many indescribable shapes. What was more interesting was that these clouds were bright and colorful. It looked like the entire sky was a boundless garden. However, just as Xiao Hua and Huang Tong appeared, there were many ripples in the void to their left. These ripples were like a fishing net. They either shrunk toward Xiao Hua and Huang Tong or spread in all directions. In just a moment, more than a dozen Yuan Shen consciousness came from outside the ripples and swept towards them. At the same time, hundreds of birds rushed out from the colorful clouds. Each of them spread their wings and surrounded Xiao Hua and Huang Tong. Huang Tong was similar to Xiao Hua in that he did not like to reveal his aura. He always kept his aura restrained. At this time, when he saw the birds swarming over, he let out a mischievous cry. His aura, which was not very strong, rushed out, scaring the birds and causing them to scatter in all directions. Cough cough. Looking at Huang Tong's somewhat disrespectful appearance, Xiao Hua felt ashamed for him. So Xiao Hua coughed twice and said, "This old man is Xiao Hua. I have come to the Phoenix Sacred World to visit Divine Mother Peacock. Who can help me pass the message?" "Ah, the great sage of the human race, Xiao Hua?" Instantly, a bird reacted and cried out in surprise. It would have been better if the bird did not cry out. With a cry of surprise, the birds that were resisting Huang Tong's aura no longer hesitated. They spread their wings and flew towards the clouds in the distance. In a moment, the entire sky was as clean as if a dog had licked it. Xiao Hua was dumbstruck. This situation suddenly made him recall a story he had heard when he was a child. It seemed that whenever there was a scoundrel in the marketplace or a scoundrel in the streets of a small town, there would be a situation where the streets were completely empty. Chapter 48:31. Damn it. Xiao Hua thought. This Xiao's notoriety has spread far and wide. I'm afraid the demon spirits of the 10,000 demon realm will coax their children at night by saying, "Are you going to sleep or not? If you don't sleep, Xiao Hua will take you away." Huang Tong retracted her aura and looked to her left. Then she asked for Xiao Hua's realm sense and looked at it for a moment. She smiled and said, "There is something wrong with the colorful Phoenix King's realm sense. Although this place is marked as the Phoenix Sacred Domain in the realm sense, the one who appeared just now was not a phoenix." While she was talking, Gua, there was a very magnetic bird cry. A milky white halo flashed in the distant sky. There seemed to be a space portal inside the halo, and a swan several hundred feet in size flew out from the halo. Sky Rain Realm? Xiao Hua and Huang Tong looked at each other, their eyes filled with surprise. After all, Sky Rain Realm was Xie Yan's hometown before she was married. Xiao Hua had a good impression of this Sky Rain Realm, and didn't want to disturb the swan race. Greetings to the great sage of the human race and the great sage of the phoenix race. That swan didn't wait to fly closer, and immediately withdrew her natural arrogance. She slightly lowered her beautiful neck and opened her mouth. "Welcome to Sky Rain Realm. I am Heavenly Blessing Palace's Feather Wind King." Although Xiao Hua had never seen Xianwan's true appearance, nor had he heard Dai or mention the relationship between Xianwan and the master of the Heavenly Fortune Palace, since Xianwan was able to marry demon monarch Masa, she must have some blood relationship with Featherwind Monarch. She should be Featherwind Monarch's junior. Therefore, Xiao Hua didn't dare to neglect and hurriedly returned the greeting. "This old Xiao Hua greets Featherwind King." Seeing Xiao Hua so amiable and even somewhat humble, Featherwind King felt strange and hurriedly smiled. Great Sage is a human on the saint ranking, an existence revered by all in the 10,000 demon realm. You are really making me panic. Xiao Hua smiled and replied, "This is the point of view of the spirit race. In the eyes of the human race, strength is important, but etiquette can't be ignored. Mutual respect is the foundation of courtesy." Human race? Featherwind King's eyes flashed with surprise. "I haven't seen a human before, but if the human race is as gentle and elegant as Great Sage, I would like to know more about the human race. There may be a chance in the future." Xiao Hua nodded. "Great Sage, may I know why you came to the Dome Rain world today?" Featherwind King asked carefully. "Hee, what advice can there be?" Huang Tong flapped her wings and laughed. "I just went the wrong way. We want to make a trip to the Peacock Palace." "Oh, I see." Featherwind King finally relaxed. He smiled. This place originally belonged to the Phoenix Sacred World, but a few decades ago, the colorful Phoenix King took a fancy to another dome territory of our Dome Rain world, and traded this place for that dome territory. The Great Sage's realm sense might not have changed. Then which direction is the Peacock Palace? Xiao Hua looked left and right at the sky domain that was beginning to fill with smoke and asked, "I haven't seen the Holy Mother of Peacock for many days. Since the two great saints are heading to the Peacock Palace, please come with me. It will also save us the trouble of finding two great sages," Featherwind King said while looking at Xiao Hua. "Then I'll have to trouble Featherwind King." Xiao Hua agreed with a smile. "Please." Featherwind King nodded elegantly. She stretched her neck slightly, and then flapped her pure white wings and flew towards a direction. Featherwind King's beautiful figure landed in the clouds. At this moment, within the dome rain world, thin clouds like smoke and mist gradually rose. Looking at it, it really looked like a beautiful painting. The swan race is indeed beautiful. Very suddenly, Fengwu's voice actually appeared beside Xiaohua's ear, pulling back Xiaohua's admiring mood. More beautiful than the colorful Phoenix King, Huang Tong said softly in her heart. She flew up with Xiaohua and landed behind Featherwind King. Yes. Fengwu smiled. Look at Featherwind King's neither fast nor slow manner. When the astral wind blows, those pure white feathers will flutter. It looks a little messy, but it's so messy that it really makes one's heart beat. It's rare for Phoenix Sage to be moved. Xiaohua did not have any intention of mocking and said, if possible, how about this shall help you express your feelings? No need. We don't have much time left, let's wait for fate in the future. Fengwu finished and no longer spoke. Xiaohua's heart trembled, counting the time he spent in the demon realm. It was really beyond his imagination. He had to quickly find the way to the Dawn Rain continent. After flying for half a meal's time, in the distant sky, the clouds began to reveal a faint tricolored brilliance. There were already some armored swans soaring in the sky. Seeing Featherwind King flying over, those swans hurriedly flew over to greet him. Featherwind King gave a few orders, and the swans led the way to the tricolored brilliance. The tricolored brilliance was born from a huge cloud like a huge flower. Flying close, Featherwind King flapped his wings and a pure white feather flew out. It drew an arc in the sky and fell into the cloud. Boom! A tricolored light spot was born where the feather landed. Then from the sky, whether it was the power of the stars or the energy of heaven and earth, it turned into a hurricane and light pillar. The light spot began to rotate. The light spot became bigger and bigger, like a whirlpool on the sea. It went straight to the depths of the cloud. Great Sage! Featherwind King saw the whirlpool form, turned around and said respectfully, this is the space portal from my Sky Rain realm to the Phoenix Sacred Realm, please follow me in. Thank you for your trouble, Featherwind King. Xiaohua nodded with a smile. Xiaohua followed the Featherwind King into the spatial gate. He saw that on the black path in the void, there were 3 intersecting light wheels. It seemed to be beautiful. Between the tricolored light wheel, either black or white light spots were faintly spread out. A space aura similar to a transmission channel gradually poured out from the walls of the void black road. That as Xiaohua and the others flew in, a heavy pressure gradually began to form. The space also gradually condensed and flew into the ripples. In particular, some tricolored light strands broke away from the walls and floated around Xiaohua, and the others. Whoosh! Seeing that a barrier was about to form in front of everyone, a huge force was born from the tricolored light wheels on the walls. This huge force tore the barrier apart. Xiaohua and the others felt that the condensed space around them suddenly melted like a flood. Their figures rapidly floated forward. They didn't need to use the flying technique at all. When the light wheels around him turned into streams of light, a loud boom resounded. It was as if the light wheels had exploded, and the flowers fell in disorder. Xiaohua felt his vision blur, and he was once again in a sky filled with light and shadow. The place where Xiaohua and the others flew out was also a mountain-like cloud. The rippling tricolored light was shrinking rapidly. In front of the cloud, there were some Phoenix warriors wearing armor guarding not far away. At this time, because of the activation of the space portal, they were already on guard. But when they saw Featherwind King with a Phoenix warrior behind him, and an inexplicable spirit warrior, the leader of the Phoenix guards hurriedly flew over to greet him. After hearing Featherwind King's intention, the Phoenix guards didn't dare to stop him. They hurriedly sent a message to the Phoenix God Palace while leading the way to another space portal. When they came out of the space portal, before Xiaohua's figure landed, his eyes saw everything in front of him, and he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Because in front of him the seemingly endless sky was filled with dense Buddhist light. Not only that, on the other side of the sky, a huge cloud was like an upside-down Bodhi tree, hanging down from the sky. Around the trunk of the tree, there were many branches and leaves. These branches and leaves were condensed from clouds, and many Buddhist light flickered from these clouds. From the huge Bodhi tree to the space portal where Xiaohua was, There were also many clouds, and these clouds were also shining with Buddhist light in the shape of Buddhist lotuses. This. Xiao Hua felt a sense of absurdity and couldn't help but mutter in his heart. This 10,000 demon realm actually has a Buddhist sect? However, in just a moment, Xiao Hua woke up again. Because although the Buddhist light was dense, it lacked the indifference of Buddhism, and it didn't have the boundless power of faith. If one used their Buddhist consciousness to examine it carefully, they would discover that this Buddhist light was merely Buddhist light. There was no substantial Buddhist dharma within it. It was like an empty shell of Buddhist light. It was more like a Buddhist light without a source or a tree without roots. Featherwind King's figure landed, and some peacocks flew over from not far away. Featherwind King looked at the Bodhi tree in the distance and whispered, "Great Sage, in front of us is Peacock Divine Mother's Peacock Palace. The brilliance and aura here are very different from other places in the 10,000 demon realm. However, every time I come to Peacock Palace, I will feel a sense of peace in my heart. I hope Great Sage won't blame me." "Not at all." Seeing Featherwind King's careful words and even some slight flaws in his words, Xiao Hua had some understanding of Featherwind King's character. He smiled. "I am very familiar with the brilliance here. This is also my fate with Peacock Divine Mother. How can I blame you?" "Oh, is that so?" Featherwind King felt strange, but his face showed a pleasant surprise. Then, "Can Great Sage tell me, what is this brilliance?" Xiao Hua shook his head slightly and didn't answer. Featherwind King was disappointed, but the anxiety in her heart was greatly reduced. She was really afraid when she saw Xiao Hua suddenly appear in Sky Rain Realm, thinking that this fiend was looking for trouble with the Swan clan. Who knew that Xiao Hua would come to Peacock Palace? If it was any other Archfiend King, they would have just pointed out the direction, but Featherwind King was worried that her disrespect would make Xiao Hua unhappy, so she personally sent him off. Along the way, she was very careful and didn't dare to rashly test Xiao Hua's tone. Until here, when she saw that Xiao Hua was very interested in Peacock Divine Mother's Buddhist light, she was relieved and knew that this human great sage who casually killed Great Ape King and Rainbow Lion King was not the fiend that other Archfiend Kings spoke of. Chapter 48-32. The little peacocks guarding the portal naturally didn't know Xiao Hua. They all greeted Featherwind King before greeting Xiao Hua and Huang Tong. However, after greeting them, the little peacocks all looked at Xiao Hua and Huang Tong curiously, waiting for Featherwind King's introduction. They wanted to know who this strange demon spirit and phoenix was. The little peacocks around the Peacock Palace were different from Xiao Hua's cowardice in the Sky Rain Realm, and the respect of the phoenixes in the Phoenix Sacred Realm. They were all chattering away, and their eyes were lively and lively. Xiao Hua and Huang Tong couldn't help but smile. Seeing the little peacocks being rude, Featherwind King panicked and hurriedly shouted, "How dare you? This is the great sage of the human race Xiao Hua and the great sage of the phoenix race Huang Tong. How can you be so rude?" "Ah? You're the great sage of the human race?" Who would have thought that it would have been better if Featherwind King did not mention Xiao Hua's name, but when she mentioned Xiao Hua's name, the few little peacocks were all ecstatic. They spread their wings and rushed over to Xiao Hua's side, talking all at once. "We have long heard the Holy Mother mention the great sage. So you actually look so strange." "Haha." Xiao Hua laughed and touched his nose. "What do you think this old man looks like?" Of course, it has to be someone who looks like us." With a few bold peacocks flying over, the other little peacocks also moved, spreading their tails and flying to Xiao Hua's side. Cough cough. Featherwind King covered her mouth and coughed a few times. She really didn't understand why Xiao Hua wasn't angry when these little peacocks were so rude. Caw. At this moment, under the Bodhi tree in the distance, a peacock's clear cry sounded. A rainbow bridge emerged from the side of the Bodhi tree, crossing the sky and landing in front of Xiao Hua and the others. Divine Mother Peacock's figure flew from the rainbow bridge and said with a smile, "Great Sage Xiao, why did you suddenly come to my Peacock Palace today? I thought you had already left the 10,000 demon realm." "AI." Xiao Hua sighed and replied, "This Xiao has encountered a difficult matter, so I specially came to ask Divine Mother for advice." "Oh, what difficult matter? Even with Great Sage Xiao's strength he can't deal with it?" Peacock Divine Mother was stunned. She then looked at Featherwind King and said, "Thank you, Featherwind King, for bringing great sage Xiao to my peacock palace." Featherwind King didn't dare to be slow. He flapped his wings and bowed. "Greetings, Holy Mother Peacock." Greetings to the Holy Mother. When the little peacocks saw the Holy Mother of Peacock coming over, they didn't dare to be naughty anymore. They hurriedly scattered and bowed respectfully. "Featherwind King, please rise." Holy Mother Peacock hurriedly helped Featherwind King up and smiled. "Why is there a need to be so polite between us?" "Great Sage Xiao, you've come to the wrong place and trespassed into my Sky Rain realm. I haven't seen the Holy Mother for a long time, so I came with you." Although Featherwind King and Holy Mother Peacock were both demon kings, she still bowed respectfully in front of Holy Mother Peacock. Since the greetings were over, Divine Mother Peacock said to Featherwind King and Xiao Hua, "This is not the place to talk. Please follow me to the Peacock Palace Hall for a chat." Featherwind King hurriedly declined. "No need. I brought the Great Sage of the human race and Great Sage of the Phoenix race over. I don't dare to delay the matters of the two Great Sages and Holy Mother Peacock, so I'll take my leave now." "Since you're here, why the rush to leave?" Holy Mother Peacock smiled. How could Featherwind King stay? After a few polite words, he bowed towards Xiaohua and Huangtong and flew into the spatial door. Seeing the spatial door slowly disappear, Xiaohua said in a low voice, "This Featherwind King seems to be too timid and cautious, right?" Hearing Xiaohua mention Featherwind King in front of her, Holy Mother Peacock knew that Xiaohua didn't treat her as an outsider. She smiled and said, "Every demon's personality is different. The swan race has always been like this. If not for the two great sages of the origin race looking after us, Songyuan domain." Speaking until here, Holy Mother Peacock didn't say anything more. She raised her wings and said, "Great Sage Xiao, Phoenix Sage, please." "Okay." Xiaohua and Huangtong agreed and landed on the Rainbow Bridge. As the Rainbow Bridge shrank, the Bodhi tree instantly appeared in front of them. Xiaohua looked around and saw layers of clouds surging under the Rainbow Bridge. Clouds that looked like temples, spiritual mountains, and Buddhist shrines were born. Within the Buddhist light, there were fragmented heavenly flowers dancing in the sky. Even when listening carefully, there were faint sounds of Sanskrit and wooden fish coming from the void. This kind of tranquility was rare in the 10,000 demon realm. The other side of the Rainbow Bridge revealed the crown of the Bodhi tree. When it fell, in the bright Buddhist light, a hall similar to the Thunder Temple appeared. "Bodhisattva." Holy Mother Peacock transmitted her voice. "Have you seen this hall before?" "Of course." Xiaohua didn't hide and nodded. "There's a Thunder Temple in the 3 continents that is similar to this hall." Holy Mother Peacock's face lit up and said excitedly, "How come? Bodhisattva has seen the current Buddha Lord." "Not just the current Buddha Lord," Xiaohua said meaningfully. "I've also seen the past Buddha Lord and the future Buddha Lord." Amitba. Holy Mother Peacock couldn't help but chant. Bodhisattva is really the Guanyin Bodhisattva who saves people from suffering. Holy Mother, you've been to the Buddhist ruins in the Dawn Rain continent? Xiaohua suddenly understood and hurriedly transmitted his voice. Buddhist ruins? Holy Mother Peacock was surprised and happy. Could it be? Bodhisattva has been there too? Of course. Xiaohua nodded with a smile. Good. Holy Mother Peacock laughed and looked at the peacock guards around the hall. "I have something important to discuss with the great sages of the human race and the great sages of the phoenix race. No one is to disturb me." "Yes." The peacock guards received the order and flew away from the peacock hall, staying on guard. "Please." Holy Mother Peacock politely flew in first. Although the peacock hall was called the peacock hall, it didn't look like a hall inside. Instead, it was an enormous Bodhi tree, which was the exact opposite of the cloud pillars outside. Under the Bodhi tree, there was a shabby praying mat. This praying mat looked ordinary, but strands of Buddhist light came out of it and fell on the Bodhi tree. The Buddhist light on the Bodhi tree shone and penetrated the void. Presumably, the Buddhist light Xiaohua saw came from this peacock hall. Namo Mithriya Buddha. Xiaohua's figure had just flown into the peacock hall, when his eyes were immediately attracted by the praying mat. Moreover, The abnormally faint and abnormally vast aura on the praying mat rushed over like a wave. Xiaohua couldn't help but recite the name of Buddha. The golden avatar faded in the Buddhist aura and transformed into the female avatar of Namo Merciful Guanyin Bodhisattva. Seeing Xiaohua's avatar appear, Holy Mother Peacock was even more certain. She didn't dare to be negligent. The Buddhist light around her flashed, and she also transformed into an incomplete avatar of Buddha. This avatar of Buddha was wearing a light white robe with a crown, jade, earrings, bracelets, and other decorations. Its face was humanoid and benevolent. Its wings transformed into 4 arms, each holding an auspicious fruit and a peacock tail. However, although this avatar of Buddha had the outline of a human, most of it was still the demonic body of a golden peacock. Greetings to Namo Merciful Guanyin Bodhisattva. The 4 arms of Holy Mother Peacock put their palms together and bowed their heads. At this time, Xiaohua reached out and took out the Kunlun mirror. In a flash of brilliance, another Buddhist name that shook the firmament was born from the brilliance. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha stepped out of Xiaohua's space and revealed himself from the crown of the Bodhi tree. As soon as Maitreya Buddha appeared, the Buddhist light in the peacock hall dimmed, and the Buddhist aura that filled the space suddenly converged. Ah! Holy Mother Peacock was shocked and hurriedly looked up. When she saw Maitreya Buddha, she shouted in disbelief, Future Buddha Lord? Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha chanted the name of Buddha and stepped down from the crown of the Bodhi tree. Each step caused a lotus to appear. Each step caused a tremor. Each step caused a layer of Buddhist light to be annihilated. When Maitreya Buddha walked to the front of the praying mat, the peacock hall was silent. There was no Buddhist light at all. Even the Buddhist light outside the peacock hall disappeared. When the peacock hall lost its Buddhist light, not only were the peacock guards outside shocked, but all the peacocks around the peacock hall were in an uproar. They all flapped their wings and flew up, wanting to get closer to the peacock hall. Retreat, retreat. The guards of the Peacock Palace were surprised, but they still remembered the Holy Mother of Peacock's orders. They flew up to protect the Peacock Palace and shouted, "The Holy Mother of Peacock has ordered that no peacock can come close." Buzz. At this time, a tricolored vortex appeared where the space portal was. A moment later, a fist-sized ball of light appeared in the sky. As the vortex expanded, the ball of light also gradually grew bigger. The peacocks that were a little panicked earlier hurriedly flew back and guarded around the ball of light. When the vortex turned into a portal that was almost 10,000 feet wide, a pillar of fire rushed out from the portal and landed on the ball of light that was a few thousand feet wide. Woo! A powerful aura covered the area. The Fire Phoenix King's figure became solid in the ball of light. Greetings, Great Sage. The little peacocks were very familiar with the Great Sage of the Phoenix Holy World. They did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly bowed. Oh, what's going on? The Fire Phoenix King asked curiously when she saw the change in the light around the Peacock Hall, as soon as she came out of the portal. The peacocks did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly answered, "Yes, Great Sage." Just now. Unfortunately, before the peacocks could finish their words, the portal behind the Fire Phoenix King flashed again. This time the light was 9-colored. Haha, the colorful Phoenix King is here too. The Fire Phoenix King smiled and flew to the side. She flapped her wings and said, "Don't worry. We'll talk when she's here." You can. Chapter 48-33. Yes, Great Sage. The group of little peacocks chuckled and chattered around the Fire Phoenix King. The Fire Phoenix King looked at these cute little peacocks and smiled slightly. She was very touched by the peacock mother's indulgence of the little peacocks. The 9-colored halo condensed and the Fire Phoenix King's demon body appeared. She saw the Fire Phoenix King at a glance and was not surprised. She said meaningfully, "Fire Phoenix King, where did you go earlier? My demon realm has not seen such a lively scene for nearly 1,000,000 years. It's really a pity that you didn't see it." Sigh. The Fire Phoenix King did not hide it from the Fire Phoenix King and sighed. There are some things that the Rapid Cherry Grand Sage is not convenient for other demon spirits to know, so I can only do it for her. However, the Rapid Cherry Grand Sage has already told me about the excitement of that day. Tsk. The Fire Phoenix King smacked her lips and said, "That's so intimate. What happened? A great sage of the original clan has no confidants. Why did he not let other demon spirits go but let you, a great sage of the Phoenix clan, go? What happened to the Peacock Palace?" While the Fire Phoenix King was mocking the Fire Phoenix King, she also noticed the strangeness around her and asked curiously, "Two great sages?" The little peacocks hurriedly reported, "Just now a human great sage and another great sage of the Phoenix clan came over. When they entered the Peacock Palace, they became like this. Namo Methria Buddha, Namo Methria Buddha, Namo Methria Buddha." As the little peacocks were talking, the sky was filled with Buddhist chants. Then layers of Buddhist light emerged from the Peacock Palace again, and spread toward the canopy of the inverted Bodhi tree. At the same time, Buddhist light came out of the canopy and fell into the other lotus-shaped clouds. In the blink of an eye, the entire Peacock Palace was filled with Buddhist light again. However, this time, the Buddhist light was different from before. Not only was it indifferent, but it was also very lively. Between each ray of light, there seemed to be a Methria Buddha sitting in it. This Fire Phoenix King didn't understand Buddhism, but he could feel the difference in the Buddha's light. As the Methria Buddha appeared, countless heavenly flowers, fairies, and dragons appeared in the sky. Everyone knew something was happening in the Peacock Palace. "Hurry up and leave." The colored Phoenix King was worried about Holy Mother Peacock and urged her. Flapping her wings, she rushed toward the Peacock Palace faster than a shooting star. When Namo Methria Buddha walked to the front of the praying mat, the praying mat suddenly disappeared, and all the Buddha's light disappeared. At the same time, the Bodhi tree behind the praying mat, the Buddhist light inside the Peacock Palace, and the Buddhist light outside the Peacock Palace were all annihilated. Holy Mother Peacock was taken aback. "Methria Buddha of the world, why? Why is this happening?" The Methria Buddha of the world ignored her, and lowered his head to look at the praying mat that had lost its Buddhist light. He frowned as if he was thinking about something or hesitating. However, it was only a moment before the Methria Buddha of the world took the last step, and stood on the praying mat. "Namo Methria Buddha." A thunderous Buddhist chant sounded. A joyful Buddhist light, a joyful heavenly flower, and an excited heavenly dragon suddenly emerged from the futon. They spun rapidly around the golden Buddha statue of Methria Buddha. Streaks of golden light formed the shape of a swastika. The Methria Buddha of the world placed his hands in a mudra in front of his chest. His eyes were full of compassion as he looked at the void. He seemed to be able to see through time and space as well as the void of all realms. He said, "Where there is light, there is Buddha. Where there is Buddha, there is a heart. Where there is Buddha in the heart, there is a Buddhist kingdom in the world. Before me, there should be no Buddha. After me, there is no end to Buddha. In this world, only I am supreme. Namo Methria Buddha. Namo Dipankara Archaic Buddha. Namo Amitba Buddha. Namo Methria Buddha." In the sky, 3 Buddhist chants were born from heaven and earth. The Methria Buddha of the world slowly sat down. Swish. The Buddhist light, Buddhist chant, heavenly dragon, heavenly flower, and even the Methria Buddha of the world's phantoms rushed into the void, rushed into the space, and rushed into the Bodhi tree. The Peacock Palace was lit up again. The Buddhist light rushed past the Methria Buddha like a tide. The Methria Buddha statue of the Methria Buddha slowly became full, and a benevolent Bodhisattva statue appeared in the Buddhist light. Namo Methria Buddha. The Methria Buddha of the world was happy. She knelt in front of the Methria Buddha of the world and said respectfully, "Disciple greets the world supreme." The Methria Buddha of the world supreme smiled and said the word Qian. Then he raised his hand and the word Qian turned into a Buddhist light and fell between the Methria Buddha of the world's eyebrows. Seeing the word Qian flashing, the Methria Buddha of the world supreme chanted, "Then the world supreme will enter nirvana. Lie down and announce it to the public. I wish to enter nirvana today. I don't see Ananda and Mahakasyapa. Come with the language. I won't see you again. Even if the worried wave pair rises to the sky, then the Buddha mother will hear this. With joy in the heart, return to the sky. Before reaching the sky, stand in the void. With compassion in the heart, cry out loud. Heaven and earth shook. Tears fell like rain. The birds in the clouds all cried. All love will have parting. What is Tathagata, Nirvana Sutra Buddha? The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme finished chanting and said, "This is the Maitreya Sutra of the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme, which is suitable for you to cultivate. Today, there is no Buddhist light in the 10,000 demon realm, no river of faith, and no path of reincarnation. Therefore, although you have the merit of welcoming the Buddha's Buddhist light, you can't achieve the Buddha fruit for the time being. When my golden body descends and the Buddhist sect of the 10,000 demon realm is established, you can become the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme." Amitba, Amitba. The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme was full of joy and said with a smile, "When I learned about the path of Buddhism, I immediately knew this joy and knew that I could be greatly satisfied in the Buddhist light. But for hundreds of thousands of years, there was no progress in cultivation and the Buddhist light became an empty shell. Today, with the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme as the light of the road, I will follow step by step and let my Buddhist light spread throughout the 10,000 demon realm." Xiaohua. Seeing the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme and the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme talking, Huang Tong was puzzled and asked in her heart, "What's going on? Is this praying mat Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme? Why did he have a vision when he touched this praying mat? The words he said just now, what did he mean?" Xiaohua's face did not have any special joy, and was even a little worried. When he heard Huang Tong's question, he replied in his heart, "This praying mat does not belong to the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme. If there is no accident, it should be under the Shakyamuni Buddha, when he had an epiphany under the Bodhi tree to create the Buddhist sect. Therefore, this praying mat has its own Buddhist light, and it is the first Buddhist light. It contains the foundation of the Buddhist sect, the origin of the Buddhist sect. If the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme obtains this praying mat, his future achievements will be limitless. As for what the World Supreme said, it is similar to what the Shakyamuni Buddha said that day, but at that time, the Shakyamuni Buddha said it to the entire world, and the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme said it to the 10,000 demon realm. They are not the same." "Then, you seem to be very worried," Huang Tong said curiously. "Could it be that the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme should not say this?" "The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme said this, and it corresponds to the previous great wish. There is nothing inappropriate," Xiaohua replied. "I am worried about the Shakyamuni Buddha." That day in the Thunder Temple in the Pure Land world, the Mahavairakana Buddha of the World Supreme had already said in advance that Luer gave up the Buddha fruit of the future Buddha, and went to the west to seek scriptures, possibly for the Shakyamuni Buddha. At this time, the Shakyamuni Buddha's praying mat actually appeared in the 10,000 demon realm. Then, what about the Shakyamuni Buddha? Where is he? Could it be that he has encountered some difficulties? How is that possible? Huang Tong said with a smile. The Shakyamuni Buddha is the founder of the Buddhist sect. Why is it impossible? If there is a Buddha, there will naturally be a Tao ancestor. Similarly, the Holy Light world also has the Holy Mother. Xiaohua replied faintly. The Buddha will also encounter difficulties that cannot be overcome. Then what should we do? Huang Tong was a little worried for the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme. Xiaohua shrugged and said, "How would I know? I am not going to the Buddhist kingdom. These things are for the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme to worry about. The most important thing for us now is to find the space passage back to the Dawn Rain continent." As he spoke, Xiaohua looked out of the Peacock Palace and said meaningfully, "The two great sages of the Phoenix clan came really quickly. You are now infamous. Who dares to ignore you wherever you go?" Huang Tong sneered. "They are afraid that you will attack the Holy Mother of the Peacock." When Xiaohua looked up, the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme naturally noticed the situation outside the Peacock Palace. He stood up and said, "I have yet to descend from the Buddhist kingdom, so it is not good for me to appear here. Otherwise, after I leave, I am afraid that it will be disadvantageous to you." "Thank you for your mercy." The Holy Mother of the Peacock smiled and said, "However, there is only the Buddhist light in my heart and nothing else. Dharma needs to be cultivated, but the Buddhist kingdom is not. The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme replied. We still have to be careful when we enter the world. Disciple obeys the World Supreme's orders. The Holy Mother of the Peacock stood up and looked at the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme. Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror and hurriedly said, World Supreme, this Buddhist treasure is a gift from disciple to you, please accept it. Namo Maitreya Buddha. The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme nodded with a smile and said, This item is very useful to me. However, I wonder where the Wisdom King obtained this Buddhist treasure? The Holy Mother of the Peacock did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly said, This disciple accidentally entered the Dawn Rain continent and obtained it from the ruins of the Buddhist sect. I see. The Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme kept the praying mat and stepped into the Kunlun mirror with lotus flowers. He said, This matter should be explained to the Guanyin Bodhisattva. I am going to meditate. As the light pillar above the Kunlun mirror rushed out, the Maitreya Buddha of the World Supreme's figure disappeared from the Peacock Palace. Chapter 48-34. Farewell, World Supreme. Holy Mother Peacock bowed respectfully and waited for the Maitreya Buddha to enter the space. Although there was no longer a praying mat in the Peacock Palace, the Buddhist light was like the source of living water. It was still flickering between the Bodhi trees. Good. Divine Mother Peacock was happy. The Buddha's golden body slowly disappeared and returned to its peacock demon form. Xiaohua kept the Kunlun mirror and revealed his transcendence golden body. At this time, Divine Mother Peacock saw the Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand and said in surprise, Bodhisattva, is that the Kunlun mirror in your hand? Xiaohua raised the Kunlun mirror and said with a smile, I heard that this item is called the Kunlun mirror. As for whether it is an ancient divine item, I don't know. After keeping the Kunlun mirror, Xiaohua asked, I came today to ask Divine Mother, where is the space passage that you used to go to the Dawn Rain continent? Did you go to the Dawn Rain continent with your real body or your clone? How did you return to the 10,000 demon realm? It's a long story. Divine Mother Peacock smiled and looked outside the Peacock Palace. She said, If Bodhisattva wants to ask about the Buddhist ruins, I will tell you about my experience there first. Then I will tell you about the space passage in detail. After all, the two great sages of the Phoenix clan are still waiting outside the Peacock Palace. Okay, then tell me about your experience in the Buddhist ruins. Xiaohua's heart sank and he nodded. After Holy Mother Peacock briefly explained the matter of the Buddhist sect ruins, she nodded at Xiaohua. She spread her wings, and a colorful brilliance rushed out of the void. She then flew behind the palace door, and said loudly, I'm sorry for making the two great sages wait outside the palace. It's really a sin. Haha, it's okay. Fire Phoenix King and Colorful Phoenix King's voices came from outside the palace. They laughed and said, We heard that the great sages of the Human clan and the Phoenix clan are coming, so we came to visit. We didn't send a message in advance. No wonder, Divine Mother. Xiaohua and Huang Tong stood in the Peacock Palace and watched the two great sages of the Phoenix clan fly in. Fire Phoenix King's eyes fell on Huang Tong, and an indescribable innate hostility arose involuntarily. She said, At the beginning of the primordial age, when the chaos was just beginning, clear and light ascended into the sky, thick and heavy, and it fell into the ground. The sun and moon were bright, the stars were revolving, and all living things were growing. Male and female phoenixes, when heaven and earth intersect, 9 types of phoenixes are born. Golden Phoenix, Rainbow Phoenix, Fire Phoenix, Snow Phoenix, Blue Phoenix, Peacock, Great Rock, Thunderbird, and Great Gale. I wonder what kind of demon spirit the Phoenix Sage is. Fire Phoenix King. When the Colored Phoenix King heard this, she was also displeased. She reminded him in a low voice, This is the great sage of the Phoenix clan, Huang Tong, not Feng Wu. Huang Tong. Hee, that's funny. You're from the Phoenix race, so why do you have the surname Huang? Fire Phoenix King mocked. Fire Phoenix King wanted to provoke Huang Tong, but before he could finish, Colorful Phoenix King laughed coldly. Fire Phoenix King, what do you mean? Could it be that there are only 9 types of phoenixes in this world? Don't the other phoenixes have any origins? When King Fire Phoenix heard this, She knew that something was wrong. She only disliked Huang Tong and had forgotten about King Colorful Phoenix. Although there was a rainbow phoenix among the 9 types of phoenixes, the Rainbow Phoenix King was a rainbow phoenix after all. It wasn't part of the 9 types of phoenixes. This Fire Phoenix King hesitated and looked at Colorful Phoenix King awkwardly. She didn't know how to answer. Why are you hanging around the great sage of the Origin clan every day? Colorful Phoenix King said coldly. You didn't learn anything good, but you did learn a lot about jealousy. Do you think that the profound Star Grand Sage can't see through your thoughts? He knows that the Swift Cherry Grand Sage is using you, so he doesn't care about you and didn't chase you away. What are you talking about? Fire Phoenix King was furious. What am I talking about? Colorful Phoenix King laughed coldly. 2 great sages of the Phoenix clan appeared in the 10,000 demon realm. Where did you go? Don't you want to come out and meet them? When did the Phoenix clan become so famous in the 10,000 demon realm? The primordial spirits of the Great Ape King and the Rainbow Lion King were both devoured by the Phoenix Sage. Even the profound Star Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage have to be careful when they see the Phoenix Sage. You actually dare to compare yourself with the Phoenix Sage. If the Phoenix Sage didn't lower herself to your level, she would have killed you long ago. Now you have the nerve to ask me. Fire Phoenix King wanted to retort, but her face turned hot when she heard the last few words. Although Colorful Phoenix King's tone was sarcastic, her last few words were to smooth things over for Fire Phoenix King. She was trying to excuse Fire Phoenix King's recklessness at the beginning. Hehe. Huang Tong's temper was not like Xiao Hua's. She had always been intolerant. When she heard that Fire Phoenix King dared to challenge her, she became impatient. She flapped her wings and was about to attack. At this moment, when she heard Colorful Phoenix King trying to smooth things over, she retracted her wings and laughed coldly. Since Colorful Phoenix King has spoken, I won't lower myself to your level. You're already a great saint of the Phoenix clan, yet you're still so narrow-minded. It's no wonder that the Phoenix clan is not thriving in the 10,000 demon realm. You. Fire Phoenix King was embarrassed and ashamed, but when Huang Tong said this, her anger rose again. She opened her mouth to shout. But Divine Mother Peacock smiled and said, Great saints, please don't argue. Those who can cultivate to the saint rankings all have great opportunities and perseverance. Although bloodline and background are related, it has a lot to do with one's hard work. Didn't Fire Phoenix King just say that? Among the 9 types of phoenixes, there is no Colorful Phoenix King, but Colorful Phoenix King can still be listed on the saint rankings. Among the 9 types of phoenixes, there is also the name of Peacock. But I'm still very far away from becoming a great saint. Indeed. Colorful Phoenix King did not dare to let Fire Phoenix King speak. She hurriedly said, There are many great saints in the 10,000 demon realm, but there are very few with pure bloodline. At this point, Colorful Phoenix King looked at Huang Tong again, and changed the topic. She asked, Phoenix Saint, I remember that day near the Gale Abyss, you told the great saints of the human clan that you wanted to leave the 10,000 demon realm. Why? Why did you suddenly come to my Phoenix sacred world today? Huang Tong glanced at Fire Phoenix King with a face full of disdain. She said, Of course we want to leave the 10,000 demon realm. But we haven't found a way to leave the 10,000 demon realm. So today we came to the Peacock Palace to ask about the spatial passage to the Dawn Rain continent. Dawn Rain continent? Colorful Phoenix King was stunned. She looked at Divine Mother Peacock in confusion and whispered, Divine Mother Peacock, do you know about this Dawn Rain continent? That's right, Divine Mother Peacock said with a smile. When I was training in the Origin Grotto Heaven, I accidentally passed through the realm barrier and arrived at the Dawn Rain continent. I left some descendants there. Great Saint Xiao came from the Dawn Rain continent. I smelled a trace of my descendants on Great Saint Xiao, so I gave some blood essence and peacock plume to Great Saint Xiao and asked him to pass it on to his descendants. So that's how it is. Colorful Phoenix King said with a smile. There are indeed many spatial rifts in the Origin Grotto Heaven. There are some fortuitous encounters when passing through there occasionally. That's right. Divine Mother Peacock looked at Xiao Hua apologetically and said, That day, I also accidentally fell into the Dawn Rain continent. The spatial rift disappeared after I broke through the realm barrier. I also looked for the spatial passage to return to the 10,000 demon realm in the Dawn Rain continent, but I didn't find it. Later, I had to pass through a place called the Demon Imperial Valley to go to the demon realm. Ah! Divine Mother Peacock. You actually returned to the 10,000 demon realm through the demon realm? Hearing this, even Fire Phoenix King was shocked. Divine Mother Peacock nodded helplessly and said, "Yes, there is no spatial passage to return to the 10,000 demon realm from the Dawn Rain continent. Moreover, I didn't find a place like the Origin Grotto Heaven in the Dawn Rain continent, so there was no way to return directly to the 10,000 demon realm. Later, I heard that there was a Demon Imperial Valley in the Dawn Rain continent. Every few thousand years, a spatial rift would appear, and the demon clan would attack the Dawn Rain continent. I wanted to return to the 10,000 demon realm through the demon realm. No wonder there was no movement from you in the Peacock Palace all those years," Colored Phoenix King said thoughtfully. "Until the Demon Realm War, you suddenly appeared. So you returned to the 10,000 demon realm from the demon realm?" "Yes." Divine Mother Peacock's face was full of indescribable expression. She smiled bitterly and said, "The demon realm is not a place where the demon clan can go. If I didn't have some opportunities when I first entered the 10,000 demon realm, and could temporarily hide my aura, I'm afraid I would have been devoured by the demon clan in the demon realm. However, even so, it took me more than 3,000 years to find the spatial rift to the 10,000 demon realm. I waited for another 800 years before the rift opened." When Xiaohua heard this, his heart turned cold. He had the demon clan's avatar, so going to the demon realm was not difficult. He even had the news of the spatial rift from the demon realm to the Dawn Rain continent. However, he didn't have the time to wait for the spatial rift to appear. "Divine Mother Peacock," Xiaohua probed, "is there no other way besides borrowing the demon realm?" "Of course, there are also realms like the Celestial Tao World and the Night Spirit Realm," Divine Mother Peacock smiled. "However, I only know the passage to the demon realm. If you need it, I can give it to you." "Celestial Tao World? Night Spirit Realm?" Xiaohua frowned slightly and asked curiously, "What kind of realms are those?" "The so-called Night Spirit Realm is a realm where the spirit clan gathers. However, there is no sun or bright sun, no moon, no purple moon or bright moon, not even stars. There is no light in the realm. When the demon spirits of the 10,000 demon realm go there, their powers will be sharply reduced." Fire Phoenix King finally spoke. "As for the Celestial Tao World, I heard that it is a realm where the human clan gathers. It is said that the cultivators there all cultivate some kind of Tao, and their powers are extremely powerful. However, the laws of heaven and earth in this Celestial Tao World are lower than in the 10,000 demon realm. Ordinary great saints can't enter." Hiss. Xiaohua sucked in a breath of cold air and glanced at Huang Tong. The Celestial Tao World that Fire Phoenix King mentioned was somewhat similar to the Liu Immortal Alliance on the other side of Million Meng Mountains. Unfortunately, Huang Tong shrugged. How would he know? Chapter 48-35. At this point, Xiaohua had some doubts and asked, "I have another question. I heard that the space in the Origin Grotto Heaven is unstable, and there are often spatial cracks that lead to other realms. From these signs, it seems that the Origin Grotto Heaven is at the edge of the 10,000 demon realm. Since there are spatial cracks there, what is broken? Must be the realm barrier. The suction and tearing force of the spatial cracks must be extraordinary. Even with the ability of the 10,000 demon realm's great saints, they might not be able to escape. If this is the case, how do you explain what Divine Mother Peacock said about ordinary great saints not being able to enter?" Without waiting for Divine Mother Peacock to speak, Colorful Phoenix King smiled and said, "Great Saint Zhao's words are a bit extreme. Everything is different. The laws of heaven and earth in the 10,000 demon realm are different from the other realms. There will be some differences, but the distribution of the laws of heaven and earth in the realms is not balanced. For example, the power of the stars and moon in some places is very strong, and the power of the stars and moon in other places is very thin. Therefore, when there is a passage between two realms, the suction force and the stability of the passage are related to the laws of heaven and earth in the two realms. If the laws of heaven and earth in the other realms are similar to that of the 10,000 demon realm, the passage will be stable, and the suction force inside will not be particularly strong. Not to mention great saints, even ordinary sun elites might be able to resist it. Moreover, after passing through the passage, there may not be extreme discomfort. In this way, if the laws of the other realms are weaker, great saints with powerful divine powers can choose to avoid it. Oh, I see. Huang Tong nodded slightly and said to Xiao Hua, I understand. The 10,000 demon realm, the 4 continents, are the greater thousand world. The Xianyuan space is the so-called lesser thousand world, so the laws of heaven and earth should be somewhat different. Xiao Hua's face did not show any joy. After all, what Colorful Phoenix King said was an extreme case. Who knew what accidents he would encounter? Xiao Hua retracted his gaze and looked at Colorful Phoenix King, Fire Phoenix King, and Divine Mother Peacock. He asked, which great saint knows about the passage from the Tao Celestial World or the Night Spirit World to the Dawn Rain Continent? I don't know. Fire Phoenix King shook her head. Divine Mother Peacock said, Great Sage Xiao, don't think too much about the Heaven Realm and the Night Spirit Realm, because the space channel between them and the 10,000 Demon Realm is unstable. It's not even as stable as the Demon World's spatial passageway. In the past, there were great saints who accidentally entered the Night Spirit World and Tao Celestial World's void cracks, but none of them returned in one piece. How many years until the Devil World opens? Huang Tong asked. The Colored Phoenix King pondered for a moment before replying, about 7,000 years. Where is the approximate location of the spatial crack? Xiao Hua asked. It's not fixed. Holy Mother Peacock knew what Xiao Hua was planning to do. She spread her wings, took out a feather, and handed it to Xiao Hua. This records the location of the 2 spatial rifts in the demon realm. But I can't guarantee that. These locations haven't changed. Xiao Hua took it and carefully put it away. He nodded and said, Many thanks, Holy Mother Peacock. If there is really no other way, this Xiao might consider entering the demon realm. The Colored Phoenix King was a little moved. She said, The human race doesn't exist in the 10,000 demon realm, but I see that your body is similar to the demon races. You must be the demon race's food. If you enter the demon realm, won't there be no way out? After all, the great saints of the demon race can't even use 70 to 80% of their abilities in the demon realm. Sigh, there's no other way. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly. For the billions of living beings in the 3 continents, this Xiao has to take the risk. Great Saint Xiao, the Colored Phoenix King pondered. Actually, the easiest way is to go to the Origin Grotto Heaven. That's where the great saints of the 10,000 demon realm train and comprehend the spatial laws. There are often some inexplicable spatial rifts. If you're lucky enough, there might be a spatial passageway to the Dawn Rain continent. It's too difficult. Holy Mother Peacock objected. Most of these spatial rifts lead to dead ends. Occasionally, there might be a way to other realms. It's fine if it's the demon realm, but the Tao Celestial World, Night Spirit World, or other realms don't even know the spatial passageway to the Dawn Rain continent. What's the difference between there and the 10,000 demon realm? But if we don't try, how can we go to the Dawn Rain continent? The Colored Phoenix King argued. Forget it. Xiao Hua thought for a while and raised his hand to take out the Kunlun mirror. The Kunlun mirror? Not only the Colored Phoenix King, but even the Fire Phoenix King was slightly stunned. The 2 great saints of the Phoenix race looked at each other with shock in their eyes. Fellow Taoists. Xiao Hua shook the Kunlun mirror, and Feng Wu, Thunder Immortal, and Immortal Yin flew out. Xiao Hua bowed and said, We don't have much time left. If we want to go to the Dawn Rain continent before the destruction of the 3 continents, I'm afraid we'll have to make some decisions. Feng Wu, Huang Tong, Thunder Immortal, and Immortal Yin looked at each other with determination in their eyes. They looked at Xiao Hua and said, We understand what you're thinking, fellow Taoist Xiao. We'll do as you say. All right. Xiao Hua bowed and said, If I end up in other realms. I'll leave the important task of breaking the array to all of you. Great Saint Xiao. The Fire Phoenix King heard this and understood. She exclaimed, You want to? Yes. Xiao Hua nodded and said, since the spatial crack that appeared might not necessarily lead to some realm, and this spatial crack might not necessarily lead to a path of life, but it might lead to the Dawn Rain continent after all. Of us, 5 great sages, perhaps one of us will end up in the Dawn Rain continent. Damn it. The Fire Phoenix King cursed in a low voice. You've cultivated to the Great Saint realm. How can you trample on your own lives like this? Compared to the billions of lives in the 3 continents, our lives are much lighter. Xiao Hua and his clones answered in unison. Moreover, if we end up in another realm, we might not necessarily lose our lives. Don't worry. Alas, Namo Maitreya Buddha. Although Namo Maitreya Buddha didn't show up, Mother Peacock knew that he was doing the same thing. Mother Peacock couldn't help but chant. That. The Fire Phoenix King's blood was boiling. Although she didn't understand why Xiao Hua and the other great saints valued other lowly beings so much, she couldn't help but sigh when she saw how spirited they were. She couldn't help but say in a low voice, Phoenix King, I think, if you're not confident, can you ask the Swift Cherry Grand Sage first? The Swift Cherry Grand Sage? Fengwu was puzzled. She asked curiously, What do you mean, Fire Phoenix King? Oh right. Mother Peacock was pleasantly surprised. How could I forget? The Origin Grotto Heaven is the realm of the Origin tribe. The Profound 2 Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage are the great saints of the Origin tribe. Although they don't forbid us from cultivating in the Origin Grotto Heaven, they might know the secrets of the Origin Grotto Heaven. Great Saint Xiao, great saints, why don't you ask the 2 great saints of the Origin tribe? Indeed. The Fire Phoenix King said to Fengwu with a smile. Phoenix King, why don't you ask the Swift Cherry Grand Sage? Haha, it seems that the Fire Phoenix King is a straightforward great saint. Fengwu laughed. She's much stronger than the Great Ape King, the Rainbow Lion King, and the Snow Wolf King. The Fire Phoenix King's face froze. She had a bad feeling. She whispered, Phoenix King, what do you mean? Have you seen the Snow Wolf King? Ah. Fengwu smiled. Not only have I seen her, I'm afraid you won't see her again. The Fire Phoenix King looked at the colorful Phoenix King. Both of them were shocked. They couldn't understand how the Snow Wolf King had offended Fengwu and the other great saints. However, the Fire Phoenix King had never liked the Snow Wolf King. Other than shock, she was gloating. She asked tentatively, Phoenix King, when did you meet the Snow Wolf King? Don't ask. Fengwu smiled. She offended me, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't have helped her. As for the specific reason, perhaps you'll know in the future. Since Fengwu didn't say, the Fire Phoenix King couldn't ask. He thought for a moment and said to the Colorful Phoenix King, Colorful Phoenix King, I just came back from the Origin tribe. It's not convenient for me to go now. You and Mother Peacock can take the Phoenix King and the others to find the Swift Cherry Grand Sage. TSK. The Colorful Phoenix King looked at him with disdain and mocked. When we don't need you, you go to the Origin tribe every day. Now that the 2 great saints of the Phoenix clan need you, you're shrinking back. It's not like you don't know where the Origin tribe is. It's not like you don't know the Profound Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage. The Fire Phoenix King snorted. She flapped her wings and flew out of the Peacock Palace. She shouted, Why do you want me to go again? Since the Fire Phoenix King doesn't want to go, we'll take Great Saint Xiao to the Origin tribe. Mother Peacock watched the Fire Phoenix King fly away and smiled. There's a space portal from the Phoenix Sacred Realm to the Origin tribe's Fusang realm. It won't take much effort. Xiao Hua was overjoyed. He cupped his hands and said, Thank you so much. Mother Peacock and the Colorful Phoenix King hurriedly returned the greeting. Xiao Hua looked at the Thunder Immortal and the others and narrowed his eyes. He didn't use the Kunlun mirror to put them into the space. Instead, he took them out of the Peacock Palace and into the space portal. After coming out of the spatial portal, a huge plain appeared in front of him. This plain didn't look any different from the Thousand Demons' sacred realm. There were mountains, rivers, trees, and flowers. Nearby, there were beautiful flowers and lush green grass. Demon spirits that were several times larger than the demons in the Thousand Demons sacred realm were playing among the ancient trees. In the distance, there were mountain ranges that rose and fell one after another. In the vast sky, there were many flying feather demon spirits spreading their wings and flying towards the sky. However, when Xiao Hua and the others flew out of the space portal, there was a faint surprise in their eyes. This was because there was a thin primitive aura coming from the left side of the space. It was completely different from the other places in the 10,000 Demons realm. Moreover, when Xiao Hua hurriedly looked around, he saw clearly that the demon spirits within 1,000 miles, whether they were flying in the sky or running on the ground, had faint golden or faint silver filaments on their bodies. They were somewhat similar to Demon King Masa in the Tsongyuan realm. Chapter 48-36. The spatial portal that Xiao Hua and the others came out of was at the top of a small hill. When the Holy Mother of Peacock flew out, no demon spirits came over. It was only when Xiao Hua and the other unfamiliar great saints came out that they attracted the attention of the nearby demon spirits. Screech. A sharp screech pierced through the air. More than a dozen vultures spread their wings and flew out from the distant foothills and ancient trees. On the forehead of the leading vulture, there was a golden thread that looked like a flower petal. It was quite eye-catching. Greetings, colorful Phoenix King and Divine Mother Peacock. Vulture naturally recognized colorful Phoenix King and Divine Mother Peacock. He moved his gaze away from Xiao Hua and the others and hurriedly greeted them. No need to be so polite. Colorful Phoenix King naturally disdained the ugly vulture. Divine Mother Peacock immediately said with a smile, I have come with colorful Phoenix King, the great sages of the human race, the great sages of the Phoenix race, and the great sages of the spirit race to greet profound Grand Sage and Swift Cherry Grand Sage. Please report. Great sages of the human race? Hearing the Peacock Divine Mother mention the great sage of the human clan, the vulture's slender neck immediately shrunk, and the vultures behind it trembled and fled hundreds of meters away. It was obvious that Xiao Hua's fierce reputation had already spread to the origin race. Vulture looked at Xiao Hua and the others with some fear. After hesitating for a moment, he hurriedly said, Great sages, Divine Mother Peacock, please come with me. Yes. Divine Mother Peacock nodded slightly and turned to explain to Xiao Hua. The place where the two great sages of the origin race live is not a place where ordinary demons can go. From here to the origin realm where they live, we need to pass through a spatial portal. Without the approval of the two great sages, this portal cannot be opened. Divine Mother Peacock looked meaningfully at Thunderbolt Immortal and the others as she spoke, but did not say anything else. A few vultures flew out first, probably to report. Xiao Hua and the others followed the other vultures to the mountain peak in the distance. Colorful Phoenix King ignored Vulture and the silence where the great sages passed by. Instead, she looked at the mountain peak in the distance and pondered. After a moment, she sent a voice transmission to Huang Tong. Huang Sheng, I want to ask you a question. Oh, colorful Phoenix King, please. Huang Sheng was not surprised and replied with a smile. Forgive me for being presumptuous. The colored Phoenix King stole a glance at Xiao Hua and sent a voice transmission in a low voice. I want to ask, what is the relationship between Phoenix Sage, Great Sage Xiao, Phoenix Sage, Thunder Sage, and the others? What relationship? Huang Tong's eyes turned slightly. She asked even though she already knew the answer. What does colorful Phoenix King mean? Colorful Phoenix King laughed and said, It's nothing much. I just feel that Phoenix Sage and the others are not much weaker than Great Sage Xiao, but why are they so obedient to him? Furthermore, all of you trust him so much that you actually dared to host your bodies in his magic tool. If he has any ill intentions towards all of you, your lives. Oh, so it's about this. Huang Tong already knew what was going on. She smiled and replied, We don't have any special relationship. We just come from the same realm. Our descendants are all in the world that is about to be destroyed. We are like grasshoppers on a rope. We all want to solve the world's crisis and save our descendants. Helping each other in the same boat shouldn't be a big deal, right? Furthermore, Great Sage Zhao's benevolence is obvious to all in our realms. His magnanimity. I admire him very much. Then, Huang Tong's admiration and words of reverence poured out like the Milky Way and flowed endlessly. After a few minutes, Xiao Hua, who was flying in the distance, felt embarrassed. He shouted in his heart to stop Huang Tong from praising herself. The cunning Huang Tong stopped and said with a smile, "Colorful Phoenix King, if you have such a fellow Taoist to accompany you into danger, would you be willing to entrust your back to him?" Of course, of course. Colorful Phoenix King hurriedly nodded and replied, "It's extremely rare to have such a magnanimous demon spirit accompanying me. However, previously, Thunder Sage and the others were all in the Kunlun Mirror. Now in order to ask about the spatial passage to the Dawn Rain continent, Great Sage Xiao release them all. Does he have the intention of interrogating us?" First, Fire Phoenix King excused herself and left, so Colorful Phoenix King did not understand what was going on. Then, when all the sages came together, Colorful Phoenix King suddenly realized that something was wrong. However, she was like an arrow on a bow that had to be released, so she braced herself and asked Huang Tong. Huang Tong already had a plan in mind. He nodded awkwardly and replied, "I won't hide it from Colorful Phoenix King. Although Great Sage Xiao didn't discuss it with us, he released Thunder Sage and the others. Obviously, he has the intention of intimidating us. After all, in order to save the lives of the billions of lives in the 3 continents, Great Sage Xiao, and we are willing to pay any price. If Great Sage Xixian knows about the spatial passage to the Dawn Rain continent, but does not say it, we might take action. Of course, you can rest assured that Great Sage Xiao is the kindest. He will definitely not lay his hands on ordinary demon spirits." "What?" Hearing this, Colorful Phoenix King became anxious and said anxiously, "Are you prepared to lay your hands on Great Sage Xixian?" Huang Tong shrugged and replied innocently, "Whether or not we lay our hands on him depends on Great Sage Xixian's intentions. It's just a spatial passage to the Dawn Rain continent. If you know about it, just say it. There's no need to hide it, right?" "Oh, that's true. It's just a spatial passage. It's not that important." Colorful Phoenix King suddenly realized and said embarrassedly, "I'm sorry, Great Sage Huang. I lost my composure a little. After all, I brought you all to the original realm. I'm afraid that it might cause some misunderstanding." It's fine. It's very normal." Huang Tong smiled and looked at the aggressive Thunder Sage. Thunder Sage has a fiery temper. With Great Sage Xiao around, he won't be too presumptuous. Haha, too presumptuous. Colorful Phoenix King smiled bitterly in her heart. How could she not understand the meaning behind Huang Tong's words? It seems that he will still be a little presumptuous. However, Colorful Phoenix King was just worried. After all, it was not a big deal for Xiao Hua to go to the original realm. It was just a spatial passage. If there was no spatial passage, then there was no. If there was one, then there was one. There would definitely not be any big trouble. Colorful Phoenix King's probing seemed to have passed, and Huang Tong's probing came again. He immediately said in a low voice, "Since Colorful Phoenix King asked me a question, then I would like to ask Colorful Phoenix King a question." "Oh, go ahead, Sage Huang." Colorful Phoenix King hurriedly replied. "I really want to know what secret Sage Huang wants to ask." "It's nothing." Huang Tong smiled and said, "In the 1,000 demons sacred realm of the 3 continents, my demon clan has 8 great sages. They are the heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix, the void-escaping Soul Phoenix, the golden-winged Great Rock, the black-armored Pentaceratops, the flying feather void beast, the red flame vermilion bird, the nether demonic dragon spider, and the 5-colored sea god shell." Oh, the black-armored Pentaceratops and the nether demonic dragon spider wanted to plot against Great Sage Xiao, but they were killed by him. Now there should be 6 great sages in the 1,000 demons sacred realm. Hearing this, Colorful Phoenix King was a little surprised. She said in surprise, "Ah? Isn't Great Sage Xiao very benevolent? Why? Why is he so merciless?" Seeing that he had shocked Colorful Phoenix King a little, Huang Tong replied in a low voice, "Great Sage Xiao is a benevolent person, but there are always some who don't know what's good for them. There's nothing we can do about it." just like the Great Ape King and the Rainbow Lion King. Great Sage Xiao had already warned them, but they still wanted to fight for it. Colorful Phoenix King said helplessly, Sage Huang, when faced with the 5 elements demon spirits. There aren't many great sages who can resist the temptation. If it wasn't for the Thunder Sage's ferocity that day, if it wasn't for the Peacock Mother's assertion, if it wasn't for the Leopard Whale King's departure, perhaps the other great sages would have joined forces. Who would believe Great Sage Zhao's words? Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. It's a little off topic. Huang Tong's goal had been achieved. She immediately returned to the topic and said, I just want to ask, since you're all great sages of the Demon Clan, why are you called Colorful Phoenix King and Fire Phoenix King with the title King, which is similar to Demon King Masa and the other titles, while the Profound Moon Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage are called Great Sages, which is similar to our Thousand Demons Sacred Realm? Hearing that Huang Tong was asking about the Profound Moon Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage, the Colorful Phoenix King was not surprised. She answered without hesitation. It's very simple. The Profound Moon Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage are the sages of all sages. They were the first 2 demon spirits to become great sages in the 10,000 demons realm. Their names are engraved at the top of the sage rankings. In order to show our respect to them, we don't dare to call ourselves great sages. This is a tradition that has been passed down in the 10,000 demons realm for many years. Hearing this, Huang Tong gasped and asked in surprise, What do you mean, Colorful Phoenix King? Could it be that the Profound Moon Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage have always been in the 10,000 demons realm? Are they immortal? The Colorful Phoenix King did not answer immediately. Instead, she raised her head and looked closer. When she saw that Xiao Hua and the others were only moving and did not pay attention to her, she answered, This is the secret of the 2 great sages of the Origin clan. I don't know much about it. However, when it comes to immortality, it's not that far. The 10,000 demons realm is not the demon alliance. They don't have the strength to surpass the laws of the 10,000 demons realm. In front of the laws of heaven and earth, all living things in the 10,000 demons realm can live and die. Oh, I see. Huang Tong agreed thoughtfully. The 2 great sages of the Origin clan have a special inheritance method that allows them to borrow the power of reincarnation to be born in the Origin clan. Huang Tong might not know about Buddhism, but she was no stranger to the power of reincarnation. When she heard Huang Tong's question, she shook her head slightly and said, The inheritance of the 2 great sages probably has nothing to do with the power of reincarnation. This is because they don't have any obvious life and death. They just disappear quietly at certain times. When they reappear, although they still have the strength of a great sage, their aura will be somewhat different. It may be weak, thin, or chaotic. Chapter 48-37. Is the time of disappearance fixed? How long is it? Huang Tong did not wait for Colorful Phoenix King to finish, and immediately asked. However, it was not out of her expectations. Colorful Phoenix King was already prepared. She smiled slightly and transmitted her voice. Phoenix Saint, you are overthinking. Although you are a great sage of the Phoenix clan, you are also a demon spirit that I can trust. However, if you want to ask about the secrets of the 10,000 demon realm based on our trust over the past few years, it is impossible. You are quite straightforward. Huang Tong was not regretful. Instead, she replied with a smile. I just want to ask more about the situation of the 2 great sages. Of course, Colorful Phoenix King replied. I just want to tell Phoenix Saint that in the 10,000 demon realm, the Origin clan is far from the Origin clan that Phoenix Saint thinks it is. Similarly, the Origin realm where the 2 great sages live is definitely not an ordinary demon realm. Huang Tong retorted. What? Is Colorful Phoenix King warning I? Sigh. The Colored Phoenix King sighed. She looked at the top of a mountain in the distance where an almost circular 5-colored silhouette gradually appeared. She transmitted her voice. I just want to explain to Phoenix Saint that the 2 great saints were born from the great sun primordial spirit, and the great primordial spirit of the 10,000 demon realm. The original realm they live in is the foundation of the 10,000 demon realm. Their safety concerns the entire 10,000 demon realm. Huang Tong smiled slightly and replied, "Don't worry, colorful Phoenix King. Since you can tell I everything you know, I will definitely pass on your words to Xiaosheng." "That's good." There was some bitterness in the colorful Phoenix King's mouth. "It has only been a few decades since all of you broke through the boundary and triggered the saint ranking. In just a few decades, the 3 great saints of my 10,000 demon realm have fallen in your hands. The fall of the 3 great saints has already caused chaos in the 10,000 demon realm. Previously, I hoped that Phoenix Saint and Phoenix Saint could keep the 10,000 demon realm and the Phoenix sacred world. Now, I can't wait to send you away." Colorful Phoenix King's words were almost heartfelt. Huang Tong also helplessly replied, "Colorful Phoenix King is thinking too much. We are even more anxious than you, but it's a pity that fate makes fools of us. Even now, we still haven't found the spatial tunnel to the Dawn Rain continent. If we can get some information from the Swift Cherry Grand Sage, we will leave immediately." "I hope so," the colorful Phoenix King replied before spreading its wings and flying forward. Huang Tong smiled and asked Xiaohua in her heart, "What do you think, fellow Taoist? The colorful Phoenix King's words should be true." Xiaohua replied, "The Xixian Supreme Sage's original form is a 3-legged golden crow. His entire body is filled with the essence of the sun. He should be an original spirit born from the power of the sun. The true form of the Swift Cherry Grand Sage was a jade rabbit. Her entire body was filled with the chi of Taiying. She should be an original spirit born from the power of Taiying. They were different from ordinary demon spirits, especially the Swift Cherry Grand Sage. When we were attacking the Great Ape King, she had already noticed You may not know this, but when I was in the upper realm, my left arm was imprinted by the moon beast. Although the imprint disappeared, it was still there. She could have felt the aura of the imprint." Huang Tong nodded and said, "I also think that these words are true. However, if you say that the survival of these 2 supreme sages is related to the entire 10,000 demon realm, I think that it's a bit exaggerated. I'm afraid that the colorful Phoenix King was afraid that we would force the Swift Cherry Grand Sage to make this up, right?" "She didn't say that it was true." Xiaohua smiled and said, "She only heard about it. She can't be sure if it's true or not." At this point, Xiaohua stopped and looked at the space portal that was close to 100 miles away. At this time, the portal had already taken shape. The outline of the portal was overflowing with 7 colors. Layers of light spots emerged from the huge circular edge and gathered towards the center like water ripples. When they reached the center, they rolled back towards the edge again. Layers of illusions were produced as the light spots collided. "Sigh, I hope that I can get information about the space portal from the profound Nuo Grand Sage, or the Swift Cherry Grand Sage." Xiaohua could not help but feel a sense of desolation. He had always been kind to people and treated things with kindness. It was rare for him to have such a forceful heart. However, before he could do anything, the colorful Phoenix King saw through it. This made him feel a little embarrassed. When the vultures who were leading the way saw the space portal appear, they naturally knew that the profound Nuo Grand Sage had agreed to let Holy Mother Peacock and the others go to the original realm. After leading Xiaohua and the others to a place dozens of miles away from the space portal, they stopped again and said respectfully, "Holy Mother Peacock, Supreme Sages, my 2 Supreme Sages have allowed you to go to the Holy World. I dare not go too close to the Divine Temple. Please forgive me." "Okay." Holy Mother Peacock nodded her head. The group of vultures hurriedly flew away and lined up far away from the mountain peak. Holy Mother Peacock looked at the colorful Phoenix King and Xiaohua again and said, "After you, Supreme Sages. You lead the way." The colorful Phoenix King would not give Holy Mother Peacock the chance to escape. She ordered without hesitation. "All right." Holy Mother Peacock smiled slightly. She flapped her wings and rushed into the colorful space portal. It was slightly different from the space portal that they had seen before. Before Holy Mother Peacock's figure entered, the colorful light spots had already turned into stripes. When Holy Mother Peacock's figure entered the space portal, the hundreds of stripes started to spin like a wheel. A passageway that shone with the brilliance of the sun and moon appeared in the void. As Holy Mother Peacock's figure disappeared, the hundreds of stripes of light started to spin in the opposite direction again. They covered the passageway that shone with the brilliance of the sun and moon. The colorful Phoenix King followed closely behind Holy Mother Peacock. When she flew closer to the space portal, the stripes of light appeared again. The Thunderbolt Immortal was right behind the colorful Phoenix King. His teleportation technique was extremely fast. Before the stripes of light could cover the passageway, he had already rushed to the front of the space portal. However, at this moment, a gentle force blocked him, preventing him from following the colorful Phoenix King in. The Thunderbolt Immortal was slightly stunned. It was also at this moment that the stripes of light shrank. Another light wheel started to spin, revealing the space portal that shone with the brilliance once again. The Thunderbolt Immortal did not suspect anything. He urged his figure to enter again. At this moment, Huang Tong, who was flying in the middle, hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Taoist Thunderbolt, don't be anxious. What's the matter?" While she was speaking, the Thunderbolt Immortal's figure had already touched the edge of the space portal. A powerful suction force was generated from within, like a large hand grabbing the Thunderbolt Immortal. The Thunderbolt Immortal was shocked. Lightning flashed around his body, and he instantly flew out of the space portal. The rotating light wheel did not stop at all. As the Thunderbolt Immortal flew out, it slowly closed again. "What's the matter?" Xiao Hua saw the slight change in the Thunderbolt Immortal's expression, and could not help but frown. He asked softly, "There's a suction force inside the space portal." The Thunderbolt Immortal stood in midair, frowning as he watched the portal return to its original appearance of light spots. He then turned to Huang Tong and asked, "What's the matter, fellow Taoist?" Huang Tong did not answer directly. Instead, she looked at the space portal that was still shining brilliantly, then at the vultures standing respectfully in the distance. She even released her Yuan will to check the situation of the Origin clan nearby. After a moment, Huang Tong smiled and said, "Nothing. It's just that I feel that this space portal is not only different from the one in the 10,000 demon realm, but also different from the teleportation formation of our Dao sect. So I suddenly thought of some traps in the mystic dimension. That's why I reminded you." "That's right." Xiao Hua nodded and said, "One should not have the intention to harm others, but one should always be wary of others. We're in a different world, so it's better for us to be careful. The location of the space portal may change when it closes. If we enter separately, we may appear in different places in different original realms." Previously, the colorful Phoenix King had also made it clear that the strength of the Xixian Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage is far more powerful than what we see on the surface. If they have any ill intentions, I'm afraid we'll be at a disadvantage in the original realm. Reverend Yun smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist, you're thinking too much. I see that the Swift Cherry Grand Sage has a quiet character, and is not a demon spirit that will stir up trouble. Moreover, the two Grand Sages did not have any special malice in front of the Gale Abyss that day, did they?" "Haha, I'm just thinking too much. You don't have to take it seriously." Huang Tong smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, why don't you take out the Kunlun mirror first, and we'll enter together?" Looking at the meaningful smile in Huang Tong's eyes, Xiao Hua naturally saw through it. He took out the Kunlun mirror and activated his magic power, allowing all his clones to enter his body. Then, Xiao Hua put away the Kunlun mirror and rushed into the space portal with a flash. Just as the Thunderbolt Immortal had said, as the light wheel spun, a huge force was generated and pulled Xiao Hua's body into the Sun and Moon Brilliance Passage. On the walls of the passage, there were huge shadows of suns and strange shadows of purple moons. The outlines of suns and moons quickly overlapped and intertwined. In the end, they stretched and twisted, turning into streaks of light that were uncertain whether they were real or not. These streaks of light even gradually expanded and scattered, like ink falling into water. That as the streaks of light dimmed, the suction of the space portal slowed down, but a heavy pressure was generated. This pressure was much stronger than the one Xiao Hua had encountered before. Xiao Hua frowned and thought to himself, Could it be that the original realm where the profound Nuan Supreme Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage live is not in the demon realm? Or perhaps the profound Nuan Supreme Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage really have bad intentions? However, Xiaohua was still thinking too much. Although the pressure of the teleportation continued to increase, and the light surrounding the tunnel continued to dim, after half a cup of tea's time, a bean-sized spot of light appeared in the pitch-black darkness. In an instant, that spot of light transformed into a round sun, and its brilliance flooded the area around Xiaohua. As Xiaohua's figure crashed into it, the pressure suddenly disappeared. Xiaohua only felt his vision blur, and his figure was actually in a place he had never imagined. Xiaohua looked around. Although he had already traveled through several realms and had seen many strange sights, when he saw everything in front of him clearly, he was a little dumbfounded again. Chapter 48:38. This was a space with no sky or earth. The entire space was supported by two gigantic trees. These two trees looked different. One shone with golden light while the other shone with silver light. However, in Xiaohua's eyes, they were exactly the same. Regardless of whether it was the thickness of the roots or the luxuriance of the leaves, everything was the same. Furthermore, the space was filled with golden and silver light. Beside every golden light, there was a silver light. In fact, in many places, the golden and silver light intertwined to form a golden and silver vortex. There were also strange scenes where the sun and moon shone at the same time. Xiaohua's eyes wandered, and he suddenly felt that there were countless suns and moons rising. It also felt like there were countless illusions being created and destroyed. There wasn't any special heaven-earth yuan qi in this space. The entire space slowly turned into a kind of hot liquid that was similar to seawater. Even with Xiaohua's strong body, he could feel a kind of sharp heat piercing deep into his body. Xiaohua released his consciousness. Although his consciousness was not restricted, it was still hindered by the hot liquid. There was no freedom outside of this space. However, what surprised Xiaohua was that an aura similar to the spiritual guts of the spiritual world in his space rushed out uncontrollably from the roots of the two towering trees. It emitted heat in the hot liquid. It seems like. Xiaohua squinted his eyes. He stood in the space and looked around. He thought to himself, the colorful Phoenix King is right. The origins of the profound Nuan Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage should be related to the spiritual guts of the 10,000 demons realm. Even if they do not bear the heavy responsibility of maintaining the stability of the 10,000 demons realm, they should be original spirits born from the essence of the sun and moon. However, after looking around, Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. This was because in the entire space, there was nothing else other than the two trees. Not only were the profound Nuan Grand Sage and the Swift Cherry Grand Sage nowhere to be seen, even the colorful Phoenix King and the divine Peacock Mother, who came in earlier, were nowhere to be seen. Seeing this, Xiaohua could not help but laugh coldly. Huang Tong's prediction was right. Even if the two origin Grand Sages did not have any ulterior motives, they were still worried about him. Where are the two Grand Sages? Xiaohua was on guard in his heart, but he didn't lack etiquette. After looking around, he cupped his fists and said, "This Xiao has an important matter that I wish to consult with you about." Boom! A thunderous sound that shook the entire space came from the crown of the golden tree. A golden light that was not much inferior to the real sun appeared amidst the thunderous sound. The three-legged golden crow of the Xixian Grand Sage stepped through the void and landed on the tree. As the three-legged golden crow descended, the entire tree began to tremble. In particular, as the tree trembled, the entire space began to sway. Heat waves that were more powerful than a tsunami rushed towards Xiaohua, rushing towards every corner of the space. For a moment, the entire space was filled with golden light, and the silver light disappeared. The golden light was so intense that even Xiaohua couldn't help but close his eyes. Xiaohua, the Xian Supreme Sage's voice was like that of a deity's. It was unusually majestic in the space. "You have some guts. How dare you come to my original realm?" Xiaohua smiled slightly. His eyes flashed with a fiery light. He slowly raised his head and looked at the three-legged golden crow standing on the top of the tree. The Xian Supreme Sage's demonic body stood in the air. Not only did the golden light shine in all directions, but the fiery light that soared into the sky was also like lava from a volcanic eruption. Countless bubbles surged out of the lava and floated in all directions. However, these bubbles could not float too far away. This was because the other tree in the distance did not react to the appearance of the Xian Supreme Sage. Although the silver light was covered by the golden light, when the bubbles came into contact with the silver light, they all shattered and turned into strands of golden silk that disappeared into the lava. The three-legged golden crow in the flames looked similar to Xiaohua's golden body. However, when Xiaohua's gaze fell on it, an incomparably large object immediately appeared in his eyes and rushed straight into his mind. An indescribable fear involuntarily rose from the bottom of Xiaohua's heart. Xiaohua smiled slightly. The thunder around him trembled slightly, blocking the disturbance caused by the three-legged golden crow. He opened his mouth and said, "The original realm is not some dragon's lair or tiger's den. I also do not have any ill intentions. Why would I not dare to come?" Ha ha ha. The Xian Supreme Sage laughed loudly. His boundless power dissipated with his laughter. Even the blinding fiery light slowly disappeared. However, the Xian Supreme Sage said, "The human race, oh the human race. You are indeed an extraordinary spirit clan. In the face of my majesty, you are actually so calm. You truly deserve my respect." "I wouldn't dare." Xiaohua smiled and said, "The human race is inferior to the spirit clans of the 10,000 demon realm. However, I feel that as long as one is a spirit clan, no matter how strong the other party is, one must maintain one's self-esteem. If one cannot be neither arrogant nor humble, and bend in the face of power, then others need not respect one too much." "Well said." The Xian Supreme Sage stopped smiling and nodded. This is not something that an ordinary demon clan supreme sage can say. I cannot help but look at Xiaosheng in a new light once again. Xiaohua looked around and asked, "I do not understand what the supreme sage means. Where did the colorful phoenix king and divine peacock mother go?" "He, they are in the original realm," the Xian Supreme Sage replied. "However, I have something to ask Xiaosheng, so I did not let them appear for the time being. Once you and I have made things clear, they will naturally appear." "Oh, what does the Supreme Sage want to ask?" Xiaohua was stunned and asked curiously. "My matter is simple. Just one sentence and 2 questions. There is no need to mention them now. May I know what is so important that Xiaosheng has come to the original realm today?" The Xian Supreme Sage flapped his wings and replied. Xiaohua did not hide and went straight to the point. "To be honest, I said before that I will leave the 10,000 demon realm after obtaining the 5 elements original spirits. However, I could not find the space passage to the Dawn Rain continent, so I had no choice but to come to the original realm. I would like to ask the Supreme Sage to tell me." "Dawn Rain continent?" Supreme Sage Xixian had a strange expression on his face. After pondering for a moment, he said, "To tell you the truth, I don't know the spatial passage from the 10,000 demon realm to the Dawn Rain continent. I'm sorry to disappoint you." Although he was mentally prepared when he came, Xiaohua still felt as if his heart had fallen into an ice cellar when he heard the Xian Supreme Sage admit it. He could not help but beg, "Xian Supreme Sage, please think about it carefully. There is no need for a stable space passage or any cracks. Just a general direction is enough. I am eternally grateful." "Oh, Xiaosheng." The Xian Supreme Sage was stunned and asked curiously, "Are you begging me?" "That's right." Xiaohua did not feel the slightest shame when he heard the Xian Supreme Sage's mocking words. He said in all seriousness, "I am indeed begging the Supreme Sage to enlighten me, so that I can return to the Dawn Rain continent as soon as possible. I hope to have a chance to break the immortal formation and save the billions of lives in the 3 continents." "Haha, you are a great sage of the human race. How dare you beg me in such a lowly manner?" Grand Sage Tuoxian laughed out loud. His words shocked Xiaohua. From this, it can be seen that the etiquette, justice, integrity, and honor that you humans speak of are nothing. Your so-called persistence in your hearts has no bottom line at all. Why do you say that, Supreme Sage? Xiaohua said coldly. My actions may be an insult to my dignity, but what does this have to do with the human race? Nothing. The Xian Supreme Sage flapped his wings and raised his golden beak. Now that you've asked your questions, it's time for me to ask you something. Please. Xiaohua suppressed his anger and nodded. I have 2 questions. The Xian Supreme Sage said. First, did you kill the Snow Wolf King? That's right. Xiaohua did not deny it and nodded. Xiaohua, oh Xiaohua. The Xian Supreme Sage could not help but sigh. The 10,000 demon realm has not lost a great sage in so many years. You just made it to the top of the saint rankings, and there are already great sages dying at your hands. Do you think I can tolerate you killing them? Hearing this, Xiaohua understood. It was not that the Xian Supreme Sage did not want to attack him that day at the Gale Abyss, but he did not have full confidence. Now that he had walked right into the trap, how could the Supreme Sage let him go? Therefore he said coldly, Great Sage, I have already killed the Great Ape King and the Rainbow Lion King. If you cannot, I have also killed the Snow Wolf King. This has nothing to do with whether you can tolerate it or not. Ha ha ha. Supreme Sage Xian laughed loudly. He flapped his wings and countless flames soared into the sky, covering most of the space. His angry voice could be heard from the flames. I still want to know why you killed the Snow Wolf King. Is this your second question? Xiaohua looked at the flames with interest and the laughter of the 3-legged golden crow. He was not nervous at all. The Xian Supreme Sage's body grew larger in the flames and his voice was fierce. This is not the second question. But if you don't want to answer, then I will not ask. But I want to guess. Did the Snow Wolf King discover the humans you brought to the 10,000 demon realm? You did not want her to spread the news of the humans in the 10,000 demon realm, so you killed her? Hiss. Xiaohua sucked in a breath of cold air, the flames in his eyes turning cold. His voice was as cold as ice. So Great Sage's second question is to ask this Xiao, where are the humans in the 10,000 demon realm? Not bad, not bad. Humans do have the potential to boast. I have not said it yet, but you can understand. I am impressed. The Xian Grand Sage nodded vigorously. The space around him had already started to boil. The hot liquid was like boiling water. Oh, in your human race this is called. You know what it means, right? Give it a recommendation vote, collect it, gift it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 48-39. I don't think your words are funny at all. Xiaohua replied faintly. I only think that you are threatening me, and I can see that you are walking towards the Snow Wolf King's death. Ah! Yuan Xian Supreme Sage laughed again. The flames in the sky swayed with his laughter, just like Yuan Xian Supreme Sage's mocking expression. Xiaohua, you always say that you are doing this for the sake of the lives of billions of people in the 3 continents. Not only did you use this as an excuse to steal the 5 elemental spirits of the demon realm, but you also used this as an excuse to kill 3 great sages of the demon realm. Are the lives of the 3 great sages of the demon realm not worth their lives? Are the lives of billions of people in the 3 continents the only ones worth their lives? You keep saying that you are doing this for the sake of the 3 continents, and you even sent the descendants of the 3 continents to the demon realm. Then, as a great sage of the demon realm, can I also think for the sake of the billions of demons in the demon realm, and kill the humans who invade the demon realm? Or even you great sages? At this point, Xiaohua no longer denied that he brought the descendants of the human race. He thought for a moment and said, I have no choice. After all, if I cannot break the immortal formation, then the 3 continents will be a dead end. For the sake of the bloodline of the human race, I have no choice but to send the descendants of the human race to the demon realm. Furthermore, the demon realm is the world of demons. The human race is at an absolute disadvantage. How many humans can I bring? Don't worry, great sage. Xiaohua, do you think that I am a country bumpkin who has never seen the world? Yuan Xian Supreme Sage's words shocked Xiao Hua. He did not wait for Yuan Xian Supreme Sage to finish speaking and immediately shouted, Yuan Xian Supreme Sage, you have been to the Dawn Rain continent? I don't know if the place I went to was the Dawn Rain continent. Yuan Xian Supreme Sage said coldly. It seems that the name of that place is not Dawn Rain. However, what this saint knows is that this saint has seen the greed of the human world, the ugliness of human nature, and the cruelty of cannibalism. As for the so-called human race, I already know it in my heart. Furthermore, to tell you the truth, the essence of this saint's previous life was also killed by a human's arrow. Tell me, will I allow these locust-like humans to exist in my 10,000 demon realm? Would I let a great sage of the human clan escape from the demon realm? Xiao Hua was startled and instantly understood something. He looked around and exclaimed in a low voice, in that case this isn't the original realm, but the so-called rushing current valley? Are these two towering trees the legendary Fusang trees? As I thought. Grand Sage Xiangxian laughed viciously. Xiao Hua, your background is indeed extraordinary. That great saint who came with you, who isn't listed on the saint rankings, should be a descendant of a primordial grand shaman, right? If not for the inheritance of the Majuhumans, how would you know about these ancient secrets? As he looked at the Xixian Grand Sage, Xiao Hua pinched his chin and felt conflicted. The Xixian Grand Sage's words were not without reason. From the point of view of the three continents, it was natural for him to bring the descendants of the human clan to the 10,000 demon realm. After all, this was the last hope for the human clan to reproduce. However, from the point of view of the 10,000 demon realm, they were extremely unwilling for the human clan to forcefully enter this realm, where only the demon spirits existed. He was the human clan, demon clan, and dragon clan of the three continents. He was an intruder who entered without the consent of the 10,000 demon realm's demon spirits. He might be able to bring the Confucian cultivators and the Buddhist clan back to the Dawn Rain continent, but the demon clan and dragon clan definitely could not. There's no such thing as having it both ways. There's no absolute right or wrong in everything. After a moment, Xiao Hua had already made a decision. He raised his voice and said, since I'm from the three continents, I have to think about the existence of the three continents. Since I'm from the human clan, I have to think about the future of the human clan. Just like how Great Sage thinks about the demon spirits of the 10,000 demon realm. If there's any trouble, I hope Great Sage can understand. As he said that, Xiao Hua bowed again. Unfortunately, Xian Xian Supreme Sage was not moved. Instead, he said coldly, if respect is enough, should I make the Great Ape King, Rainbow Lion King, and Snow Wolf King kneel in front of Xiaosheng? It doesn't matter. Xiao Hua's face smiled. I only ask for peace of mind, and to do something for the human clan. The life and death of the demon clan. I'm afraid it's beyond my power. Well said, well said. Xian Xian Supreme Sage's two wings transformed into two large hands. He clapped his hands and laughed. For the billions of demon spirits of the 10,000 demon realm, I have to kill Xiaosheng and the human clan. I hope Xiaosheng can understand. Well said, well said. Xiao Hua's smile revealed a sense of helplessness. You and I both have a heavy burden on our shoulders. As long as Great Sage is not afraid of being killed by the sun-shooting arrow, you can do anything you want. What? You have the sun-shooting arrow? Xian Xian Supreme Sage trembled slightly. The large hands shattered, and his regenerated wings fluttered slightly. His body flew away from the Fusang tree. Xiao Hua said faintly, Great Sage, don't be afraid. Not only do I have the sun-shooting arrow, but I also don't have the divine bow. However, my Abijna will not disappoint Great Sage. As he said that, Xiao Hua raised his hand and took out the Kunlun mirror from his Daoist robe. Xian Xian Supreme Sage laughed coldly. Xiao Hua, this is the Valley of Tang. You are under the Fusang tree. Do you think this is where you can be arrogant? Xiao Hua activated the Kunlun mirror. The Kunlun mirror's brilliance disappeared. Furthermore, wherever Xiao Hua's consciousness swept, the Shenhua continent disappeared. The laws of heaven and earth were completely different from when he first entered the original realm. Oh no. Xiao Hua's expression changed slightly. Haha. Xian Xian Supreme Sage laughed loudly and said proudly, "Since you know this is the Valley of Tang, why don't you know that this Valley of Tang is formed by my essence soul? This Valley of Tang is me, and I am the Valley of Tang. Once you are in the Valley of Tang, do you think you can do whatever you want?" As the Xian Xian Supreme Sage's laughter fell, the entire original realm began to tremble. Countless flames mixed with golden light turned into a monstrous force that crashed down. It was about to smash Xiao Hua's golden body into powder. Could it be that in the end only power can speak? Xiao Hua was extremely helpless. As he waved his hand, countless thunderbolts appeared from his hand and turned into a 5-colored lightning hand that rose into the sky and met the world-destroying golden light. Hiss. In the original realm, everything was under Xian Xian Supreme Sage's control. Seeing that Xiao Hua's 5-colored lightning was filled with the way of life and death, Xian Xian Supreme Sage could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Without waiting for the golden light to fall into the lightning hand, he spread his wings and his demon body, which was like a scorching sun, fell into the Fusang tree. Boom. Just as the Xian Supreme Sage's body disappeared, the hand of lightning collided with the golden light of annihilation. The golden light of annihilation was unparalleled and overbearing, but it was no match for the golden light of annihilation. There was a deafening sound as the golden light of annihilation rapidly dissipated, and the flames were extinguished. However, the golden light of the original realm was like a mighty wave. As it was extinguished, it also shattered Xiao Hua's lightning hand. Naturally, Xiao Hua had already noticed Xian Xian Supreme Sage's actions. He hurriedly rushed into the sky and rubbed his hands together. Rays of golden light as thick as a child's arm fell into the void. In the space near Xiao Hua, the sound of wind and thunder could be heard. One after another, the shadow of the immortal slaying stage appeared and rushed towards the Fusang tree. Ka. Before the giant lightning shadow of the immortal slaying stage could get close, the golden Fusang tree suddenly trembled. 10 rays of light of different colors surged out from the 10 thickest branches of the Fusang tree. In the blinding light, 10 cries that sounded exactly the same could be heard. The 10 of them looked exactly the same. Only the 3-legged multicolored crows of different colors revealed themselves. When the 10 3-legged multicolored crows appeared, the entire original realm immediately stirred up an endless chaotic storm. The originally scorching hot lava entered the bodies of the 10 3-legged multicolored crows faster than the chi of heaven and earth. Above Xiao Hua's head and under his feet, even more spiritual guts rushed into the original realm and turned into boundless hot lava. Ka. Among the 10 3-legged multicolored crows, the golden 3-legged golden crow roared angrily. It flapped its wings and pounced in front of Xiao Hua. It said coldly, "Xiao Hua, today, even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, you will still turn into dust. Don't blame me for not warning you earlier. If you had left that day, I would not have been able to do anything to you. But since you have delivered yourself to me, I have no choice but to kill you for the peace of the 10,000 demon realm." Ka. After a few clear cries, the purple, red, and other multicolored crows flapped their wings and surrounded Xiao Hua. However, Xiao Hua could see clearly that other than the 3-legged golden crow's bright eyes, and the purple 3-legged purple crow's eyes were half closed, the other 8 multicolored crow's eyes were lifeless. They were clearly spirits that had not awakened. In an instant, Xiao Hua understood that the grand sage Qianxian mentioned by the colorful Phoenix King was not the one in front of him. It was the collective name of these 10 multicolored crows. Just like the Hui shooting the sun, in the legend of the sorcerer tribe, there was only one sun hanging in the sky every day. In the original realm of the 10,000 demon realm, there was only one 3-legged multicolored crow in each generation that would awaken. As the current grand sage Qianxian, 10 multicolored crows were 10 grand sages. They were real grand sages, not illusions or doppelgangers. Although they had not awakened, their oppressive aura had firmly locked onto Xiao Hua. It seemed that as long as the 3-legged golden crow gave the order, they would tear Xiao Hua into pieces at the same time. What a pity. Xiao Hua smiled slightly. He looked at the confined space and said, "Grand Sage Qianxian, I am destined to disappoint you today. Although I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms, I have 10 heads and 20 arms. Fellow Taoists, you can show yourselves now. Chapter 4840. As he spoke, Xiaohua pretended to be mysterious and patted his head. Boom boom boom. A series of thunderclaps sounded out of thin air. The Thunder Immortal, Feng Wu, Huang Tong and the other avatars flew out one after another. They. As Xiaohua's avatars flew out, Xi and Xian Supreme Sage's eyelids could not help but twitch. How could they come out of the Kunlun mirror? When Taoist Witch and Demon Venerable Shi flew out, Xi and Xian Supreme Sage's shock could not be any greater. He thought that Xiaohua would have an ancient witch tribe companion, but he never thought that Demon Venerable Shi could also be listed on the saint ranking in the demon realm. Of course, Demon Venerable Shi's name would not appear on the saint ranking. Demon Venerable. Xi and Xian Supreme Sage almost groaned. How is this possible? Great Sage, you have a good plan. Seeing that his avatars had blocked the aura of the 8 three-legged colorful crows, Xiaohua said coldly, "You were afraid that I would bring all of them here at the same time, so you tampered with the space portal and made me suspicious." Fellow Xiaohua, you are wrong. Huang Tong smiled. There is absolutely no problem with the space portal. The problem is with the Fusang tree. The Fusang tree divided the so-called Tang Valley into 10 levels. If you and I came in separately, we would fall on different levels and be defeated by this guy. But if we came in together, he could use the power of the realm to imprison the space of the Kunlun mirror, making it impossible for us to come out of the Kunlun wonderland. This guy's plan is flawless. What a cunning crow. Xiaohua nodded and raised his hand to point at Xi and Xian Supreme Sage. It's a pity that he still shot himself in the foot. It's okay. Thunder Immortal smiled and raised his hand to point. The stone is not big and he has many feet. It's okay to smash one. Damn it. The three-legged golden crow was furious. It opened its mouth and a golden halo fell into the air, covering Xiaohua like a fishing net. At the same time, the three-legged purple crow beside him also opened its mouth, and another purple halo fell. As the two halos echoed, the space around Xiaohua melted like a candle, and flowed into the mouths of the two three-legged golden crows. Not good. Why is the spatial energy of the original realm so strange? Xiaohua did not feel anything strange about his golden avatar. However, as far as he could see, his golden avatar was also melting along with the space, flowing like water. Xiaohua could not help but exclaim softly. At this moment, the other 8 three-legged multicolored crows also opened their mouths. Halos of various colors fell from the sky. The entire rushing current valley really turned into soup and fell into their mouths. Xiaohua was not the only one who was shocked. Even Huang Tong, who was proficient in spatial escape techniques, was shocked. He clearly knew that the three-legged golden crow's control of the entire original realm had surpassed his control of the spatial laws. Furthermore, the three-legged golden crow knew that he might not be able to take advantage of Huang Tong and the other great sages, so he simply manipulated space, so that Huang Tong and the other great sages did not even have a chance to use their superpowers. Even so, it was impossible for Huang Tong and the others to be captured. Huang Tong opened his mouth, and the 100 Beasts flag flew out. The Thunderbolt Immortal and the others also activated their superpowers and tried their best to resist that. However, the spatial laws of the original realm were so strange. Huang Tong's 100 Beasts flag waved and first urged a demonic beast to fly out. The place where the demonic beast landed also turned into a stream of light. It looked like it was obviously in 2 different spaces from the three-legged golden crow. How could it launch an effective attack? Even the Thunderbolt Immortal's Thunderbolt Giant Palm also missed. He clearly sensed that it was a huge palm that was several acres in size, but when it landed in the original realm, it turned into a distorted light shadow. Damn it! Seeing that some of the golden avatar's light shadow had already fallen into the three-legged golden crow's mouth, Xiaohua cursed angrily and shouted in his heart, "Fellow Taoists, activate the thunder escape technique. We can only use the power of speed to resist the spatial laws." Alright. When the doppelgangers heard this, they agreed and activated their bodies at the same time. Countless lightning shadows appeared like distorted fireworks everywhere. Layers of shadows appeared from Xiao Hua and the other doppelgangers. These shadows were like cicadas shedding their shells, peeling off layer by layer and falling into the three-legged golden crow's mouth. But the real doppelgangers gradually solidified and filled up. Damn it, what kind of escape technique is this? How can it be so powerful? The three-legged golden crow was angry. He really could not understand how these foreign great sages could have such powerful means. Just as the three-legged golden crow was thinking about how to deal with it, Xiao Hua, whose golden avatar was completely standing in the shattered space, revealed a mocking smile. He raised his hand and took out the sword gourd. Seeing Xiao Hua take out the sword gourd, the three-legged golden crow was shocked. After all, he had already seen the power of the killing spirit vital light. If he was not afraid of the killing spirit vital light, he would have already taken action. Why wait until now? Quick! As Xiao Hua chanted the incantation, he raised his hand and pointed at the sword gourd. On the sword gourd, the black and white thing with a nose and eyes appeared. Shwa. When the black and white thing opened its eyes, the black and white light curtain instantly rushed out of the sword gourd, as if to cover the entire rushing current valley. 10 fierce killing spirit vital light that could cover the world suddenly flew out, and pounced on the 10 three-legged golden crows. Wherever the black and white light passed, everything was destroyed. Whether it was the dazzling 10-colored brilliance or the melting space, nothing could stop it. In the blink of an eye, it fell on the heads of the three-legged golden crows. Shwa shwa shwa. In this critical moment, there was a sound like flowing water. 2 leaves flew out from the golden fusang tree and the silver fusang tree, and instantly fell on the heads of the 10 three-legged golden crows. The killing spirit vital light fell on the gold and silver leaves. Poo-pee-you. Muffled sounds continued. The leaves were destroyed by the killing spirit vital light, but without waiting for the killing spirit vital light to fall half an inch, more leaves grew out, one stacked on top of another, as if there was no end to them. Haha. The three-legged golden crow laughed, and the golden light in his mouth shone brightly. Xiao Hua, Huang Tong, give me your lives. It's just bullying with numbers. Who doesn't know how to do it? Xiao Hua saw that he could not escape, and coldly smiled. He raised his hand and said, I'll let you see what it means to bully with numbers. Xiao Hua did not believe that Huang Tong's 100 beast flag would not work, and his 100 or so scattered nascent souls would be defeated. However, before Xiao Hua could release the 100 or so ninth tribulation scattered nascent souls from his lower dantian, he heard the celestial being, who had his back to Xiao Hua, laugh loudly. Fellow Taoist, there's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. Why don't you let me test my skills? The celestial being opened his mouth. Buzz buzz. A huge roar broke through the air, and the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper tumbled out of the celestial being's body. Ooh. An aura several times fiercer than the killing spirit vital light rushed out from the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, and instantly flooded the surrounding space. Ah. This is. The three-legged golden crow felt an inexplicable fierceness, and was so shocked that he even forgot to spit out the golden light in his mouth. His gaze fell on the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, and he actually seemed to have lost his soul. Shwa. The 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper was different from Xiao Hua's other magic artifacts. As the celestial being raised his hand and pointed, a black light came out from it. This black light crossed the original realm, and not only blocked the 10-colored light of the 10 three-legged colorful crows, but also the gold and silver light of the 2 fusang trees. 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. This is the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. How do you have the celestial race's celestial artifact? The three-legged golden crow came to his senses and cried out in disbelief. His trembling body seemed to be extremely afraid of the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. Haha, I understand now. The celestial being laughed loudly. So you are from the celestial race. I don't need to use any shooting sun arrows to kill you. Since that's the case, then hand over your life. Woo. As the celestial being raised his hand and pointed, the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper flew toward the three-legged golden crow. Seeing that the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper passed by, a huge suction force sucked in all the light nearby. The three-legged golden crow did not dare to be negligent. He spread his wings and flew toward the fusang tree, and the void near the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper collapsed at the same time. Unfortunately, not only did the collapsed void not stop the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, it even turned into larger fragments under the suction force of the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. The black light of the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper caught up with the three-legged golden crow several times faster than the light within the fragments. Caw. The moment the black light touched the three-legged golden crow, the flame-like golden light dyed the three-legged golden crow's entire body faster than the ink in the pool. The three-legged golden crow could not help but cry out in alarm. Swoosh. The 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper ignored space within the black light and landed on the three-legged golden crow's head in an instant, covering the three-legged golden crow. Pooh! The three-legged golden crow was shocked. He opened his mouth and a blood-red golden light rushed out, wanting to hit the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. Unfortunately, the light only lifted the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper by half a foot before it mysteriously disappeared within the black light. The 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper fell by more than 10 feet. Damn it! Damn it! The three-legged golden crow roared furiously 3 times. A golden light burst out from his body, and in just a moment, he grew to over 10,000 feet tall. At the same time, a golden feather from his tail pierced through the air, and pierced straight toward the Celestial's forehead. Fellow Taoist Yun. Seeing the feather approaching, the Celestial cried out in alarm, "Come and save me!" Reverend Yun was taken aback. Without hesitation, he opened his mouth and unleashed a dragon breath that transformed into a dragon avatar and blocked in front of the feather. Boom! When the feather pierced into the dragon avatar, it immediately turned golden, then exploded with a loud boom, leaving not even a single trace of dragon mark on it. Damn it! Taoist Yun's heart trembled. Obviously, he was wounded by the hidden attack in the feather. Fellow Taoist, can you still hold on? When Xiaohua saw that the Celestial was only controlling the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper to chase after the three-legged golden crow, while the other three-legged colorful crows had taken the opportunity to fly into the fuso tree, he understood that the Celestial did not have the strength to spare to kill the other three-legged colorful crows at the same time. Chapter 48-41. I may not be able to fully control the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, but it won't be a problem to kill him. The Celestial laughed. However, after activating the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, I won't be able to activate it again for many years. That's good. Xiaohua heaved a sigh of relief and said coldly, "Let's kill him first." Okay. The Celestial's spirit was shaken. He opened his mouth again, and the tricolored true light fell into the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. Boom boom boom. The 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper shook violently and suddenly expanded. The black light once again enveloped the huge three-legged golden crow. Caw. At this time, the three-legged golden crow's cry actually carried a kind of sorrow. Pa. Without waiting for the three-legged golden crow's cry to land, the Celestial clapped his hands. Boom. Like thunder, but without the majesty of thunder, like falling rain, but 100 times colder than falling rain. A mournful black light fell from the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, and brushed onto the three-legged golden crow's body. This black light was extremely strange. It ignored space, ignored the golden light of the three-legged golden crow, ignored the soaring flames, and even ignored the three-legged golden crow's elemental spirit body born from the grand sun primordial fire, and instantly fell into it. It was even colder than the wind blowing out a candle. Where the black light fell, more than half of the golden light of the three-legged golden crow was immediately annihilated, and more than half of the previously fierce flames were also extinguished. The three-legged golden crow could no longer maintain its huge body. As the black light brushed past, it suddenly shrank to about 10,000 feet. Oh my! Not to mention Xiaohua. Even the celestial himself was shocked. He exclaimed, "How is this 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper so powerful?" With just a brush, it reduced the so-called profound supreme sage's strength by 30%. If it's brushed a few times, won't this guy become a bald crow? Xiao Hua smiled and asked in his heart, "That's true, but how many times can you brush it?" The celestial smacked his lips and said, "Brushing it 2 more times. Shouldn't be a problem, right?" The celestial being's words were filled with helplessness and unwillingness. Xiao Hua understood that in the original realm, the Yunxian Supreme Sage was the original realm, and the original realm was the Yunxian Supreme Sage. It was already good that the celestial being could use the heavenly dipper to suppress him. If he really wanted to kill the Yunxian Supreme Sage, it would be difficult. Unless the heavenly man and the Suoxian Grand Sage planned to perish together. "I'm not afraid." Xiao Hua smiled coldly. Apart from fellow Taoist, there's still fellow Taoist Wu. Although he doesn't have any sun-shooting arrows, he can still kill him with the shaman race's divine abilities. In the ancient times, there was a great sorcerer who destroyed the 9 suns with an arrow. "Today, I shall kill the golden crow with my bare hands," Taoist sorcerer said proudly. Just as Xiao Hua and the celestial being were discussing how to kill the 3-legged golden crow and escape from the original realm, there was a loud bang. The Fusang tree, which had originally turned into a quiet silver tree under the bright light of the golden Fusang tree, suddenly emitted a brilliant silver light. This silver light was like a tide that washed over the space of the original realm. But the silver light was so gentle that it was not glaring or dazzling. Even the black light of the heavenly dipper showed signs of fading under this silver light. Swift Cherry Grand Sage. Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately knew who had appeared. His body flashed, and he brought Huang Tong and the rest to where the silver Fusang tree and the golden Fusang tree were separated. Each of them cast their skills, be it lightning, wind, or soul power. They all appeared and forcefully blocked the silver light. Sigh. A sorrowful sigh sounded from the silver Fuso tree. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage's silver demonic body appeared. Beside her, the colorful Phoenix King and Holy Mother Peacock appeared with smiles on their faces. However, when the colorful Phoenix King and Divine Mother Peacock saw the situation in front of them, the smiles on their faces froze. Divine Mother Peacock exclaimed, "Grand Sage, this. What's going on?" At the same time, Divine Mother Peacock flapped her wings and tried to fly out of the Fusang tree. Unfortunately, the silver light was like a layer of shackles that bound Divine Mother Peacock and the colorful Phoenix King tightly. No matter what, Divine Mother Peacock could not fly out of the branches of the Fusang tree. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage's expression was very complicated. He looked at Xiao Hua, Huang Tong and the others, and then at the celestial being who controlled the heavenly dipper. Finally, his gaze fell on the profound Grand Sage, who was struggling under the black light of the heavenly dipper, and had shrunk by 30%. He said, "Xiao Sheng. Xiao Sheng, Xiao Sheng." Divine Mother Peacock also shouted, "Can you?" Instead, it was the colorful Phoenix King who opened her mouth to say something. However, when she saw Xiao Hua and the other 9 sages, and even a demon lord, how could she not know what was going on? Therefore, she did not even say a word and just watched quietly. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage did the same. He only called out "Xiao Sheng" and did not speak again. Clearly, he did not know how to persuade him. Xiao Hua looked coldly at the Swift Cherry Grand Sage and said, "Swift Cherry Grand Sage, I believe you know what happened here." Previously, I did not understand why the profound Grand Sage said so much to me. So he was not wasting his breath for no reason. He wanted the Swift Cherry Grand Sage to listen to him. He wanted to persuade the Swift Cherry Grand Sage, right? That's right. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage did not deny it. He nodded and said, "Because when it comes to dealing with Xiao Sheng, Phoenix Sage and the other great sages, I do not agree with the profound Grand Sage. Therefore, the Swift Cherry Grand Sage went to welcome the colorful Phoenix King and Divine Mother Peacock and reminisced with them." Huang Tong continued, "And when the great sage Tuoxian kills us, you can tell them the truth. I'm sure they won't say much. They'll just wave goodbye to you and continue to be their great sage." Sigh. The swift cherry grand sage sighed and did not answer. Clap. At this moment, the celestial being became impatient. He clapped his hands and another layer of black light fell from the great destructive celestial dipper. Whoosh. Without any suspense, the profound grand sage's golden light was cut down again. The demon beast became a few 100 feet tall. Great sage, please forgive us. The other demon spirits, even the swift cherry grand sage, were too embarrassed to speak. Only Divine Mother Peacock panicked and screamed, "Please don't kill the profound grand sage, please don't." The celestial being laughed coldly and asked, "Why not? Just because he is a great sage of the original demon realm? Just because he is a spirit formed from the essence of the ancient sun?" "Great sage, you don't know," Divine Mother Peacock hurriedly replied. "The profound grand sage was formed from the sun spirit of the 10,000 demon realm. His existence is closely related to the sun of the 10,000 demon realm. If he is killed, the 10,000 demon realm may lose a son." "How is that possible?" Xiaohua was disdainful. He waved his hand and said, "The sun, the moon, and the stars are objects of the heavenly Tao. They have long become the laws of a realm. How can such a supreme law be formed into a demon spirit?" At this point, Xiaohua suddenly realized something. He glanced at the swift cherry grand sage and asked meaningfully, "Divine Mother Peacock, why didn't you mention this in the Peacock Palace? Did you just find out?" Sigh. Divine Mother Peacock nodded and sighed. "Indeed. I just rushed over to ask about the origin of the original realm. The swift cherry grand sage. Only then did I mention it." "The swift cherry grand sage is so calculative." Xiaohua smiled and said, "He has already made countless preparations that the swift cherry grand sage's gaze was extremely complicated." He glanced at Xiaohua and did not explain. Then the two seemingly obedient ears on the top of his head waved. Swoosh swoosh. Two soft sounds were heard. On the silver fuso tree under the swift cherry grand sage's feet, 2 layers of silver light curtains suddenly rolled up and rushed toward Xiaohua and the others. At the same time, on the golden fuso tree, 2 layers of golden light curtains rolled up. The gold and silver were like the yin and yang of the spirit-slaying vital light. Instantly, the space where Xiaohua and the others were was completely covered. A murderous aura came from the light curtains. Even the black light of the 10,000 extinguishing celestial dipper was blocked by these 4 layers of light curtains, that Xiaohua was naturally prepared for the swift cherry grand sage's attack. However, he did not expect the swift cherry grand sage to use the foundation of the original realm, the fuso tree. Moreover, this attack was a fatal one. Damn it! Xiaohua cursed in his heart. He immediately slammed his palm on the top of his head, preparing to release more than 109th tribulation scattered nascent soul cultivators to fight the swift cherry grand sage to the death. However, just before 40% of the light curtains closed, the swift cherry grand sage's voice was heard again. Sigh. Xiaosheng, don't be anxious. I just want to show you the methods of the original realm. I have no special ill intentions. Following the swift cherry grand sage's voice, the gold and silver curtains rolled up again and fell into their respective fuso trees. The entire space was once again covered by black and silver light. Xiaohua put his hand down and pinched his chin, watching the swift cherry grand sage quietly decompose. Indeed, after a while, the swift cherry grand sage finally spoke. Xiaosheng, what Xian Xian said earlier was for me to hear, but in fact, it was also what I wanted Xiaosheng and the other sages to know. After all, the 10,000 demon realm is the 10,000 demon realm of the demon spirit realm, not the 10,000 demon realm of the human clan. If the human clan comes to the 10,000 demon realm, they will definitely disrupt the order of the 10,000 demon realm. Therefore, both Xian Xian and I have concerns about this. However, Xian Xian wants to take this opportunity to kill all of you. As for me, I remember what the Peacock Divine Mother said. I don't want to cause too much trouble, so I didn't agree. Although I didn't agree, I had no reason to stop Xian Xian. That was why I lured the Radiant Phoenix King and the Peacock Divine Mother into the mulberry tree. The fuso tree is called fuso, but it is actually the fuso tree and the mulberry tree. These 2 trees are the foundation of the original realm. At the same time, they are the source that gave birth to Xianxian Supreme Sage and me. Under my feet is the mulberry tree of the Valley of Rushing Current. Under Xianxian Supreme Sage's feet is the Fuso tree of the Valley of Rushing Current. When the Fuso tree and the mulberry tree close, everything in the Valley of Rushing Current will be destroyed. There will be no accidents. Xianxian tried to persuade me earlier to use the power of closing. Moreover, to be honest with Xiaosheng and the other sages, Xianxian saw the dragon clan in the Gale Abyss and knew that Xiaosheng must have brought the human clan over. After we returned, we sent the demon clan to the spiritual realm and the 3 wastelands to search for them. The Swift Cherry Grand Sage explained unhurriedly. If it was just the dragon clan, we might be able to tolerate it. However, the human clan, absolutely not. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.